Welcome today, everyone, to the Action Army Brats Pixar tier list. I am your host, Dan Bettenhausen, call sign Hans and Franz. And today we have a wonderful panel of Pixar-loving generals to discuss, rank, and argue about all 23 Pixar films. Yes, and that will include the recently released Soul. So let's just dive right in. Right now, I would like to introduce our channel host, Nikki. Nikki, please feel free to bring yourself in.
I'm in now.
How are you today?
I'm wonderful. We're talking about Pixar, which I think we can all agree is, if we are doing a tier list for animation studios, would easily be at the top of S, because I think their track record basically speaks for itself. And we're going to get to this on the tier list, but unless anyone wants to argue otherwise, there's not even an F tier, in my opinion, for this. So I'm very excited to get into these. These are my favorite movies, as you can all probably see right here.
Really? More so than Studio Ghibli?
That's painful to say. I have to concede that Pixar, I think, just has a greater impact, and obviously just better known in general. But it's tough, though. But they're my 2S tier.
Well, next we're going to bring in the reigning two-time Pixar trivia champ, Jack Mayer.
Wait, where's Zach? I was told this would be a watch along with Zach tier list.
Well, you know, schedules got mixed up. There was a whole thing with a bucket that's still in dispute.
That's right. I forgot the bucket. He lost tier privileges and he refused to give it the bucket. Now I remember. Thank you as the beta bucket executor for reminding me of that.
You're welcome. You are welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to talk some Pixar, as always.
You know this isn't trivia, right? We're here just ranking. We're not answering questions.
Put that away real quick.
Good. Yeah, you're not going to need
ranking.
I mean, unless we mute you, you may need that later just to communicate. But next, we're going to bring on the person you love to hate, Mr. Liam Gilpin. Liam,
hi, Liam.
How are you?
I'm all right.
How's Canada?
Cold.
You know, I'm feeling that. I'm in Kansas myself. Cold here, but, you know, just got to move on. Things going well. You excited about ranking some Pixar films?
I am. I'm currently working on my own book, so I'm hoping getting to other people's opinions might help.
Are there pictures in this book?
No, I can't draw.
That's fair. Next, highly disputed placement, but we are going to bring on the very appropriately call-signed Bloodsport in a conversation about Pixar, Mr. Jonathan. How are you today? Oh, he's Duke's up. He's ready to fight.
No.
There's no hand-to-hand combat in the tier list ranking.
No. I'm just here to chill and have a great time discussing Pixar movies, which is actually, that's a great question, Dan, regarding Studio Ghibli, which I've started. Now seeing 10 Studio Ghibli films. You got to put both of them in S tier.
Okay, wait. So is it Ghibli or Ghibli? I feel like we're having
I say Ghibli.
I say Ghibli, but now I'm pretty confident that's what it is. But now I'm second guessing myself because Jonathan probably knows more than me.
No, yeah, well, I've only seen 10. You've seen more than me, so you beat me on that. But today, I'm just gonna chill, have a great time, and discuss Pixar, ranking them.
Great. Now we're saving the best for last. The original call sign, Party J, Pardis. Let's bring Pardis on.
Hello.
Hey there, Pardis. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How about you, Dan?
I'm well. I'm wearing my my Nickelodeon shirt. I was mistaken on which animation we were talking about. I thought we were talking about Nickelodeon, but
SpongeBob is S tier. I think we can all agree with that.
He's on here a few times, and my Bears are on the Nickelodeon game tomorrow, so I might have to wear this instead of a Bears shirt.
Ooh.
I don't know why they're on Nickelodeon. They just are on Nickelodeon. But Pardis, you feeling good? You ready? You ready to fight for some favorite Pixar films?
Yeah, I guess so.
I need more commitment, Pardis. If we're here, we need that fire. We need that energy. Are you just going to stick with like?
Are we allowed to swear on this channel?
Yeah. Yes, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yes, in this Pixar tier list, we can swear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if things get personal now, I'm shutting that down. So, if you're going to swear, just, make sure it's about passionate arguments and not, cursing at fellow rankers.
Oh, I would
Yeah.
never swear at my current people on this panel.
Except
Well-
maybe Liam.
Well, Zach's not here, so.
I see what he did there.
But, I'm ready to dive in if you five are all ready to dive in.
Hell yeah.
Just
I'm ready to
as
go.
Oh yeah.
some minor things to discuss beforehand. I took the list of Pixar films and put them through a randomizer. So the list that you will be seeing shortly will be the order we're going through. We are not going to be going through alphabetical or chronologically released order. It's completely random order. And finally, one thing we need to mention, as the reigning Pixar trivia champion, the champ, Jack Mayer, has as his prize rights to select one Pixar film as an automatic S tier film. We will not know what that film is until we get through it in the list, where he will say, stop, I'm using my S tier powers to put said film there. So it will be a surprise soon, in the middle, later, who knows, until we get to said film.
And you know what? Maybe if the conversation dictates that that film that I have in my mind ends up in S tier, just use it somewhere else.
Yeah, he
Play
has
somewhere else.
He has the power. I mean, if he wants to put the Good Dinosaur at S tier, he has that power.
I will not be putting the Good Dinosaur
Break
at S
Lost?
tier.
As
Break Lost.
proctor
Okay.
and host, Hell will be contained in the bucket, the general bucket. Even it will not be breaking loose.
I can't wait for these attempts to come through
So,
and fail.
without further ado, ado is no longer further. We are going to be starting with our tier list ranking.
Okay.
First film we are discussing is Wall-E.
Wall-E.
Wow.
That
Sorry.
was very good. That was that was impressive. I thought Wall-E was right in this chat. So anyone would like to start discussing Wall-E?
All right.
Nick-
Just a very quick comment. So I do think this is a great movie overall. It as we showed in the first trivia match, it actually overwhelmingly has the most Oscar nominations on a lot of technical aspects. But I was having a conversation with my mom because my parents both also really like Pixar. And I told her, I just realized one day, okay, as great as this movie is, it's one that I've never felt as big of an impulse to revisit. I don't feel like I have that same kind of connection with it that I do with a lot of the other ones. So I would say on a personal level, maybe B or A.
Jack.
I kind of would like to back that as well. I saw this movie, I think, twice when I saw it in theaters when it came out in 2008. It did get nominated for a bunch of Oscars. It did get the most nominations, but not as many as we might think in terms of Pixar movies, because it only got one more than Toy Story 3. I think with Wall-E, there is a very clear difference between the first third of this movie and the last 2/3 of this movie. I think that the first third is some of the best storytelling that Pixar's ever done and some of their best animation. It looks great. I love the connections between all the characters. I think that it does lose a little bit when we meet the humans, though. I sort of start to fall off. I get a lot less invested in the story of Wall-E and Eve. The environmental message feels a little hammered in at points. I still think maybe high B, low A. I'm comfortable putting it up in A right now, but I'd also be fine knocking it down to B.
Pardis, Jonathan, Liam, any thoughts?
I also agree with Nikki and Jack. Like, this movie didn't impact me the most, but I did enjoy quite a bit of it. Not bit, most of it. And the first act is incredible, and the storyline with the humans was okay to me.
Okay.
So with Wall-E, I thought that this was one of their first mature Pixar movies in the register because it dealt with the themes of environmentalism and other issues. I liked it a little more than y'all. I put it in A tier myself. The first third of the movie is like S tier quality. I think it has some of the best storytelling ever from Pixar, and it's mostly silent. It's no dialogue. It's just those two robots.
And Hello Dolly.
And Hello Dolly.
Yeah.
But the last 2/3, I think, yeah, I do understand regarding the humans, but it's more like a narrative drive than the drive as an entirety, as to why they're not coming back and why they're still in the Axiom on that ship. And when we figure out who it is that is behind all that, then it is a bit shocking. But I think for me, I would put it on A tier.
Liam?
Yeah, for me, I think Jack pretty much said exactly how I would have laid it out, like almost identically. I think it's high B. I think it loses some points because Pixar was meant for adults and kids. I think it loses a lot of that kids demographic, and everything else that's already been said, I think nailed it perfectly. But I think high B is where it should sit.
Great. I'm from what I'm hearing, there was a lot of praise, so I'm going to have it at A, with the idea that it's probably going to be pushed back into the B tier right now, because I think, besides Liam, who was the only one who I think gave it an emphatic B, everyone else kind of had it that high B, low A. So right now I'm going to have it there with the idea that it's probably going to get moved down. Next film on the docket is Cars. One. So anyone want to raise your hand if you want to take first shot at discussing Cars. Jack, what are your thoughts on Cars?
So Cars is not a very good movie, the first one, but I love it. I love watching this movie because of what an absolute meme it is. It is like, so much of this movie doesn't make any sense. Why are they cars? What is the point of them being cars? But I can't help but enjoy watching this movie. I would put it like low B, high C, probably, if I'm being totally objective. But I do have a soft spot for this movie. I just wanted to say that before it gets the hate it rightfully deserves.
Nikki?
Okay, the reason why they're all cars, it begins with a dollar sign. In all seriousness, though, but in all seriousness, I think it's fairly inoffensive, though. I remember seeing it. My whole family saw it, and I was, I think, 12, and I thought it was fine. It's not one I ever revisit unless I'm doing a full rewatch, but I can't really say I have like any major issues with it. I think it's pretty run of the mill as far as just as an animation. If we're comparing this to all animation, I think it's decent. By Pixar standards, it's definitely lower. I know if Bateman were here, Paul Newman would definitely bring it up because he's convinced it's great. And I'll give him props. Yes, he elevates his own role, but I'm definitely C. If I'm being generous, bottom of B.
Bottom of B. Pardis?
For me, the movie is okay. Pixar movie is like not one of those that's like an Inside Out or a Soul, but it still has like comedic values to it, and the cast is just incredible in my opinion. So I'd also put it in that area. That's a C, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, right now. I mean, like I said, these are final setting. I'm just throwing it onto the tier list. No, that's what we're discussing. Jonathan or Liam, any thoughts? Even if it's just, I think it should be this tier.
I'll go last. Go ahead, Liam.
You go last? So Cars is actually the first Pixar movie I remember seeing in theaters, and I try to always take nostalgia out of the equation, but it's always there. I love the beginning race and the ending race. I love Doc as a character. I think it's just a really enjoyable movie, but doesn't offer much like depth. I have it personally at low B, like at the bottom of B, like it's the very last entry at B for me. And I just think it's enjoyable, but just missing that little extra level that it could go.
Okay, so when it was promoted, when Cars was promoted, it felt like more of a racing movie, and there is some racing in the movie, but then it turns into a more of a coming of age car film, and it is reminiscent of another movie that was inspired, which is Doc Hollywood. If y'all have seen Doc Hollywood, it stars Michael J. Fox, where he is on his way to a job interview, and he's also in a car accident where he's in a little town, and he gets to go know about this little town on his way to Hollywood. It's the same movie, but I think it's a better movie than this. But Cars, I kind of liked it. I thought it was a fine movie. It's innocent, harmless. A few memorable moments for me. The moment, the montage where we see Radiator Springs at its peak before it shut down because of the interstate. But I would put it at B for now, because there are obviously a lot better movies ahead of it. But yeah, this is fine now. B.
So just fun fact really quickly, I live like 10 minutes away from where they filmed Doc Hollywood. It's a really cute little town.
Yeah, Grady.
Did Doc Hollywood come before or after Cars?
I thought it was way before. It was Michael J. Fox.
1991.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was Micanopy. Never mind. Go ahead, Liam.
Well, okay, it sounds like a lot of B's. Oh,
Wait, Liam has something to say.
It's unrelated, but the chat keeps saying it's put it in presentation mode. I don't know what that means on the tier list. Just that's what like Zach and Zach saying in the chat here.
What is?
Oh, there. Hey,
there it is.
There's a spot in the presentation mode.
that's better.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's really better. Yeah.
So yeah, from what I've got.
But that changes the order then of the film.
So let's just give it in this order then for now.
Yeah, just keep it in this order.
Oh, it did. Yeah.
Just keep it in this order.
And also just really quick, I'm totally fine if we want to move them around later, and if stuff gets pushed through. I don't want to put necessarily limits on how many are in each, but if we come to consensus later, that's fine.
I think just looking at it, my goal is to try and do 5, 5, 5, 3. But like I said, it's your list. You guys are ranking it, and we'll adjust accordingly.
I'll just say that there's not going to be many D films.
No.
So, in my opinion, maybe one. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
I think there'll be more than one D film, but
Okay,
again,
maybe
we'll
see.
cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah.
Next film up is. Oh, I am going. You know what? I'm just going to kind of pick and choose because I think they're put in order of franchise, and I don't want to do it in order.
Yeah, let's
of
randomize it.
Yeah,
Randomize it.
whatever
We'll
you
have
think is best.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do. I'll stick with A Bug's Life though.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh.
Go
ahead.
All right.
Nick.
So when I rewatched it, because it had been a very long time since I had seen it, but I watched it earlier last year, and to me, it's kind of, to me, I have it below Cars. It kind of falls in that same echelon of it's fine, but I really didn't find myself laughing a lot. I didn't feel endeared to anyone, to be frank. I think a lot of the designs for the ants are kind of cute, but honestly, it doesn't click with me that much. And the whole liar reveal thing is kind of just a tired story beat at this point. So when on my personal list, I had it in D personally, but I'm not going higher than C.
I think I saw Jonathan beat out part of.
Well, I had my hand raised at the same time as Nikki's.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Parks.
Like I said, everyone's going to get a chance to talk, so I'm not going to skip you. But
No, I know that.
Go ahead.
so, but Partis, yeah, go ahead.
So I've seen this movie when I was little, like about many, many times. This is my Magnificent Seven. The characters are great. I really resonated with Flick because he was like one of my favorite characters growing up. And I just love the colorful, the designs and the characters and the storylines. And yes, I know that this is like the second, I believe, Pixar movie ever made. So they're still getting used to the emotional value and the impactfulness. But I find this movie valuable to my life. I know that sounds weird in a way, but I also have this movie in my top 5 Pixar movies of all time. And I put this movie in a low A.
Oh.
Okay. Hey, Jonathan, I think you were next.
Yes, I was next. Actually, okay. So Partis did point out something. Magnificent Seven, which is also by itself inspired by Seven Samurai. It is Pixar's Seven Samurai, in terms of the bugs defending their village or anthill against the grasshoppers. It's the same movie. This is a tough one because I do kind of like this movie, but it has been a while since I've seen it, and we got to remember this is the second movie in the Pixar franchise. They were basically experimenting with other stories. I mean, the first one we had Toy Story, which was a revolutionary film because of its computer animated graphics. But with Bug's Life, a lot of people praise it. But because of all these other movies, we just say we categorize it as just fine or just eh. I think it's fine. I think it's fine where it is right now in C. Not many memorable moments for me, maybe except for a couple of characters in the circus gang. There is a great character voiced by John Ratzenberger, P.T. Flea. There is a funny sequence involving him where they're doing a circus act, and then Flea is on fire and say that you're all fired when he's just burnt to a crisp. But other than that, it's fine where it is at C. It's fine.
Liam, did you have anything?
So I was going to say I compared like Incredible Hulk of the Pixar. Like it comes second. It's kind of forgettable overall. Like there's a scale. Like it's not bad, but like on the Pixar, it's forgettable. And I think Nikki also lined up perfectly. You don't really endear yourself to any of the characters, and it really relies on putting like Flick in this awkward situation for humor. And that kind of humor never really resonates with me in general. So for me, I have it in my tier list where I go 4, 5, 5, 5, 4. I have it in D.
Wait, what do you mean by 4, 4, 5, 4?
So F, 4, and D, 5 in the middle. So depending how we change it, it will impact that. But I have it high D, low C.
Jack?
And I guess I'll just round this out by saying I rewatched this one pretty recently in preparation for studying, and I've honestly forgotten a lot of it since watching it, and it wasn't too recently that I rewatched it, or it was like kind of recent. But again, I think that there are some things about this movie that work, but I think there's a lot about it that doesn't. It came out around the same time as Ants, which was in direct competition to this movie, and I do think that Ants is actually a little bit better of a movie. I think that a lot of the animation in this really doesn't hold up, especially the water stuff at the end. Like it looks really, really cartoony and not very good. I think that the best part of this movie is the main villain, and that's kind of been ruined by real life. That's not really this movie's fault, but shut up, Zach. I put this in the C tier as well, low C, maybe high D if we end up getting that way, but I think it's good at C right now.
Okay, yeah, we're going to have one rebuttal from Partis, it looks like.
Well, it's not a rebuttal. I was going to say that I would, if y'all want, I don't mind putting it in B tier to make it fair.
Behind Cars or ahead of Cars? That's the
I put it in front of Cars.
behind Cars.
In front of
It's going to be
Cars.
dropped to C. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot of better movies ahead of it.
I was gonna say the problem is like some of us would have for me putting in C is generous, where I personally have it my second to last overall. So I'm willing to have it like near the top of C. This could be this is hard. I'm sorry, Partis.
Can we just at least for now put it in B at least?
We can certainly do that.
We
We're
can
going to
bottom
B for
of
now,
B.
but I can't in good conscience put A Bug's Life over Cars.
No. If
No.
you feel better, Partis, don't worry, Zach is with you.
It's
Oh, I
better than
agree,
Cars.
Zach. It's way better than Cars. I
Right.
agree,
And
100%.
really, how I'm doing this, I'm going to go on the general consensus that I'm hearing from the discussion. If there are multiple people that have issues, then we'll address it. But I think at this point, end of B with the thought that it's probably going to get into C is how I'm seeing it. But we'll see how the discussion goes.
Yeah.
Next up, we're
Which
gonna
one?
let's talk. Let's talk Toy Story 4.
Oh.
Okay.
Nikki.
Okay. Is the worst out of the 4 Toy Stories. I think
Okay.
pretty much everyone agrees.
Mhm.
I will, because now the reasons I don't like it is I don't like the running gag with Buzz and the whole thing with his consciousness, because he was very naive and just unaware of stuff in the first one, but he went through so much character development, and that is completely undone in this movie, and it's not even a funny running gag. And I don't like how basically all the toys that aren't Winnie and Buzz are completely sidelined. I do like a lot of the new characters, so I will say I do love Duke. I love Ducky and Bunny. I think Giggles is adorable with the little way she just like drives up in her little Polly Pocket like container when we first meet her. Gabby is just, she and her minions are just creepy. But I did get some good laughs out of it. And even my parents, when I watched it with them, like laughed really hard at certain points, especially Ducky and Bunny. So I would do bottom of B personally.
Jonathan?
I actually would put it above A Bug's Life.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Or no, actually. Okay, Nikki, I do have a question. Do you think this is worse than Cars? Toy Story 4?
Is really close. I honestly could flip them. Here's the thing. I think I get overall more laughs in Toy Story 4. It's a little hard like to take my bias out of it because of how much it like drags down the franchise, but I think if I had to pick one to rewatch, I would pick it. I don't know if it's necessarily better. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said bottom of B because I still think of Bug's Life in my own list, but I would put above Bug's Life personally if I had to pick one.
Okay, so Toy Story 4, I did like it. I do agree that it is my least favorite of the 4. It wasn't necessary to make the movie. I thought it ended perfectly with Toy Story 3.
I agree.
However, with 4, you get a new story, but mostly focused on Woody, and it is sort of kind of a romantic movie if you think about it, where he is with his friends while Bonnie and his family are going on a amusement park, and then he comes across Bo Peep in the playground, and then they reunite, and then she brings up another perspective of toy life, where she has been, she's a free spirit. But I will agree that the Buzz thing did not quite work for me. Now watching it again recently, the best characters were actually the new characters. I do agree. The Key and Peele, they're hilarious. They're hilarious together when they did that. Their planning that made me laugh so hard. The villain, the toy villain. Can you remind me what the name was? Gabby. Actually, Gabby. Christina Hendricks. She brought a refreshing perspective on her character. They actually did a good job of not being a one-dimensional villain. And then when we find out what happens, it actually was kind of refreshing to see. And it is kind of a bit of a twist as to what happened to her character. I did like Duke Kaboom a lot too. So in my opinion, I think it should be ahead of Cars, top B, because I would go and watch this again than Cars, which in retrospect, Cars was a little kiddie for my taste. But yeah, I like it there ahead of Cars.
Liam, was it Liam or Jack? I think, did Pardis have?
Yeah, Pardis, have you said your piece yet?
Not yet, but I could
Please.
be last. I could have a few things to say about this movie.
You want to be last?
I want to
There
let
you go.
Jack I want to let Jack and Liam go first.
Okay, I can go then, Liam, if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I put the Toy Story movies, except for one of them, which we'll talk about later, kind of in the same clump together, and that I think that they're all pretty good. I don't really connect to any of them that deeply, except for the one that we will discuss later. I think this movie looks amazing. I think that the textures, especially, are fantastic. I think this is one of the best looking Pixar movies. I think it's got some really, really good humor. I agree that the Buzz stuff does feel kind of forced and out of nowhere. It's not very funny in this movie to me. I really like the relationship between Woody and Bo Peep. I think that it was something that was introduced in the first two, but it didn't really get fleshed out until this movie. I think that, like, you see like, oh, they're romantic together, but then you see like, oh no, there's a legitimate depth to their relationship in this one. I really do enjoy the character of Forky. I know that he can be really hit or miss for some people, but I think that I think Tony Hale does such a good job as Forky, and I think Forky. I end up quoting "You're just like me" trash more frequently in my life than I should. I would also put it in the B tier. I would probably end up putting it maybe. I don't know if I would put it above or below Cars. I'll say above for now, since I think it is a better movie than Cars. But if I'm going to watch one of the two of them, it's going to be Cars.
Okay. Liam?
So for me, I have it in C tier, but I also have it above A Bug's Life, my own rankings. I think the biggest problem I have is both people get completely different characters. This one than she did for the first two, and it takes me out of the movie immediately trying to figure out if it's the same Bo Peep. And I think Woody and Buzz, I think it's already been touched on, kind of like regressed in a way. They went back a few steps and they should have keep moving forward. I think everyone said, which could be covered. I think Jonathan also touched on earlier how like the first three I think was perfectly wrapped, and you kind of just forced in another entry, and it kind of feels forced at the same time. I think it's the funniest of the Toy Stories, but also obviously we're talking about the worst. It's enjoyable, but it's just there's a lot of it that just takes you out of it knowing the first three that happened before it.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm gonna
any issues with it ahead of Cars?
Well, let's hear Pardis's spiel first.
Like I said, everyone just kind of given.
I'm going to mute myself for this one. So
me too.
Oh, I'm up?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, I have so much to talk about this movie, but since we don't have that much time, I'm going to list some stuff about this movie. Okay, for me, this movie, get ready. This movie is not good at all. Okay, here's my few reasons. Number one, throughout the first three movies, Buzz characters becomes like, what's the word? We know more about him and like his life. And then in this movie, they dumbed him down to an idiot, like a dumb, stupid, like, where's his character arc from the rest of the movies? Like, they made him like have no brain at all. And the second one is they sidelined all the characters, like Bullseye, Jesse, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, and they didn't give them enough screen time. And then what Bonnie did to Woody disrespected Andy, because Andy, remember the end of the third one where Andy told Bonnie, make sure to look after them, they're important to me. And then she agrees. But then in this movie, she just becomes so like in love with this fork that you call a toy. But like she gives up on Woody and focuses more on Forky, which is another disrespect to Andy. Another thing is this movie was like mainly about Woody's relationship with Forky, like a buddy road trip, and also like focusing on Forky more. But then we find out that Bo Peep returns in this movie, which is fine, all right. But then they made it into a love relationship between Woody and not Buzz. I would say Woody and Buzz. My bad.
That would not be bad, actually.
Woody and Bo Peep, and she becomes a big part in the movie, which takes the focus away from Forky, and he barely had any lines. Well, he had a good amount of role in this movie, but that's what we were given. And there's another movie later on that we'll talk about that it's similar to it. So I would, for me, for my own list, I put Toy Story 4 at the D tier, or because there's no F tier on here, but I could put this movie in the D tier.
So, Pardis, just real quick.
Hold on. Raise your hand. I will call on you. Jack.
So, Pardis, I just want to be clear. Your problem is first that it is a buddy comedy between Woody and Forky, and then your other problem is it's not a buddy comedy between Woody and
That's
Forky.
what we were promised. We were given.
We were promised magic and in Brave, and then that turned into a family movie. And we'll talk about Brave. But
Yeah, but
I'm saying that
Forky the target for I forgot who the villain is. Gabby, is that her name?
Gabby.
Yeah.
She and her minions, the dummies, or
Forky's not ever her target. Woody's her target throughout the movie.
but she kidnaps Forky and in order to get the voice box from Woody.
Yes. What's the problem with that?
Like collateral, man.
I just feel like using Forky to get to Woody was an interesting choice.
Okay, I just wanted to know what your reasoning behind that
Before
was.
Jonathan explodes, Jonathan.
Yes.
Let's keep it civil too.
Okay. So, so you were bothered by the fact that you don't like the love story between Bo Peep and Woody?
No, it was fine. It's just that I wanted more of Forky and the leadership, the friendship bond between Woody and Forky. How Woody teaches Forky that is more to life.
Yeah, because Woody was with Andy for 3 movies. Yeah, for a long time actually. And he knows more. He has wisdom in him. He has wisdom beyond his years. And if Forky has just been created, he's like a baby. If you think about it.
Yeah, but we don't know how he became a toy, how he became alive.
She made him.
Okay, Nikki.
I was gonna say I do kind of agree on that. The mythology with how Forky, because on the one hand, it makes sense that he would come alive because he's technically her toy, but how he also instantly knows that he's meant to be garbage. That whole thing is kind of weird to me, and I don't particularly like Forky as a character. Where watching the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh shit, is this gonna be good at all? But no, overall, I think so I agree on that front. But to me, I can't go that far as you, just because there are so many really funny moments, and I pretty much love all the other new characters. I think though I kind of disagree a little bit with Jonathan regarding Gabby, not because she's not well fleshed out, but I feel like pretty much that's what's great about Toy Story. I feel like all of the villains have been well fleshed out. They all have good Freudian excuses between Sid, the prospector, and Lotso. So to me, it's more like just her stuff, and the stuff with her minions is a little creepy to me. But I can't go as far as say there's nothing good, so I can't put it in D.
Okay.
I think we should leave it here for now and then adjust as we go along, because I think that it probably will end up dropping down. But I think here is probably fine.
I know part is lower. The rest of you, any issues with this?
Liam?
I have it below Cars. Other than that, I'm good.
Huh?
Would anyone have any arguments if we moved it behind Cars? Again, I'm trying to look for a general consensus.
I'm also fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm okay with it for now.
Right. And thank you, Zach, for bringing that up. I'm going
Has
to.
it really been 17 minutes?
No, it hasn't. Zach's just being an ass.
You've been talking about this movie for at least 10. We've been talking about this movie for at least 10.
Yeah.
Let's just
Time flies.
I might try and herd you along. You guys have been doing a good job not talking over each other, but we need to be a little more concise with our points. And if you think if something's been said, say I agree with this and move on. We don't need to reiterate the point.
All right, that's fine.
Nice, you're here.
Thanks.
Next one we're going to talk about is Finding Nemo.
Okay, this is gonna be quick for me. I'll raise my hand on this one.
Jonathan.
This is a great movie. S tier, easily. I'm
I
done.
agree.
I'm done.
I love this movie.
Remember, raise your hand if you. Nikki
I'm
had her raised next. You're good. You're good.
All right.
Nikki.
I think. Well, if anyone wants to like just chime in and say that they agree,
No,
or they
Nikki,
like
you
it,
go
I think
first.
that's fine. No, I'm just saying in general. I think if someone wants to just chime in and say they agree or they like it, that's fine. Just don't like go off on it.
I'm just trying to keep consistency.
Okay, no, I appreciate that too. So I like this movie, but even as a young kid when I first saw it, I never connected with it the way a lot of people have, and I'm not sure why. I think a little bit of the issue is I do love the characters. I do love Marlon, Nemo, and Dory, but they're a little bit one note. They're a little bit too much of these stereotypes of like Dory, her whole shtick is she's forgetful. Marlon's just very like understandably he's protective, but like they rely a little bit too heavily on they have these prominent personality traits. I think they go a little bit too far where I just don't feel that same connection with them. And upon rewatch recently, I still think it's a great movie. It's easily A tier for me. I just never had that same connection with it as most people have. I will say the score is phenomenal, though. That swelling in the intro is one of the best pieces of Pixar music to me. I've never gotten into this. But quick tangent, the musical version at Animal Kingdom is phenomenal.
Jack.
I go high A. I put it above Wall-E, but I think that if we're going the 4-5-5-5-4, then I might put it at the end of S. But if we're going 3-5-5-5-5-5, I have to.
Right now, my thought is 5-5-5-3.
Okay, so if there are three in S, then I would have to. There are 5 in S.
Yes.
Okay.
Three,
then, yeah. Then I'm fine with putting it in S.
Cool.
Do you have anything else?
Unless no one has anything else to add,
I have stuff to add.
Go ahead.
For me, Finding Nemo is like I call it like a swing because every time I watch it, my opinion like swings back and forth depending how I enjoyed it the last time. So if I enjoyed it last time, I'm gonna like it less the next time. It swings back and forth for me. I have it in my personal probably low A area. I think some of the side characters are great. Like I love Gil. I like Crush. The sharks are all phenomenal. I feel like the humor is also feels a little more like I don't want to say it's kitty. Like it just a lot of it just feels a little more stuff that doesn't really hit as much. And as much as I get older, it misses more. I think there's a lot of great there, and I love the setting of the sea and how vast it is. But just something about it just always keeps it from being that top S level for me because every time I watch it, it changes based on last time I watched it.
If I may, just real quick, I think that the reason why I would put this in S over A is because more than any other Pixar movie, I think this was the one that really put them on the map as like, oh, they're like a really, really legit big company to be reckoned with. Like this was the one for me that I'm like, and maybe it's because of my age, but this was one that I remember like this one was everywhere when it came out. This one, like, that's what I think I remember seeing this one when it was in theaters and I was like 2.
Yeah.
But like I really, really, really do dig this movie. And I think that if I have it in S and Pardis and Jonathan both have it in S.
Yeah.
That's 3 and 2.
Nikki and Pardis, anything really substantive to add? Because again, I don't want to.
No, go ahead.
So from what I'm hearing, we have a lot of S.
Oh, I never gave my.
Oh, Pardis. Sorry, Pardis. Yeah,
wow,
Pardis.
Dan. Wow.
I'm definitely going to get you for that one.
So I also have this in S tier because this movie is like gorgeous. Like the way they did the water. I know, like we said, one of y'all said earlier that the rain in Bug's Life was still not up to date, which I kind of agree, but still the rain in that movie is just impressive. But we're talking about Finding Nemo now, and I like how like the animation like not upgraded, like it. What's the word for upgraded? Like
improved.
It improved very well, and I agree with Nikki with the score. It's fantastic, and I'm so happy this was the first Pixar movie to win Best Animated Film, and I still have this memorized to this day. P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney.
Well, then we'll keep it at S. And
Yeah.
just for my 2 cents, this is probably the best looking Pixar film in my opinion. Next film, let's discuss Incredibles 2.
Ooh.
Oh, you picked Incredibles 1 there.
Oh. Incredibles 2.
Oh boy. This is tough.
Nikki.
I don't have a ton to say about it. I do think it's very enjoyable. I think with the huge gap of time, that definitely tempered my expectations. I think it still met them. It's definitely not as good, but I still think it had a lot of the same humor. I still love the characters just as much as I did before. But at the same time, it's not one again that I've ever been like, I really want to rewatch it again. But I feel like if I did, I would still enjoy it tremendously. Obviously, the fight with Jack was obviously hilarious and adorable. But
Yes.
to me, I think I have it in B tier personally. I would definitely have it above Cars.
Jonathan.
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. It has a lot of depth regarding Elastigirl's mission. Between her, the screenplay, there's some great action sequences. My favorite scene is the aside from the raccoon Jack fight, is the scene in the where she's stopping the train, and I thought that was fantastic. Great animation there. But we gotta remember that this is funny that Mr. Incredible is there with the kids. And there is some funny stuff going on with him, and also some poignant stuff between him and Violet. You know, with Violet going through her stuff, also with Tony Reidinger. And there is a funny Reidinger, whatever. But there is a very funny moment, and it gets me every time, where she sees him in the restaurant, and she, spits milk or water out of her nose. That gets me every time. But it is better than Cars. I would put it in behind Wall-E and Low A, because I will know that it will slide to B. But I think for now we'll put it in Low A behind Wall-E. I think that would be fine for now, because I know that it will go to B. High B.
And me just moving around isn't saying where it's going to be located. I'm just getting the range. So we've heard from Nikki and Jonathan.
Yeah.
Jack, Artis, or Liam want to chime in?
I guess I can go.
Okay.
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead, Artis.
So,
Go ahead, Artis.
So this movie is a good sequel to the first movie. I really like how the animation improved from the first one, like especially with Tony Reidinger's character. Like you can see the whole character design is way different, and also with the other characters. And the villain in this movie, not what I expected. It was like, I don't even remember what the name of the villain was.
Screenslaver.
And then I do love the fight between Jack and the raccoon. That's one of the highlights of the movie, which was really amazing. And I do love the first one better, which we'll talk about later. And yeah.
Jack or Liam?
Liam, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So personally, I would have it pretty much in the Cars territory. I have it above Toy Story 4 and The Bug's Life. I think the villain takes a huge step back, and I think it really negatively affects the films. I feel like Syndrome was such a pinnacle part of the first one, which we'll get into more later. And I also don't feel like it added really a lot more. I think there's a lot of great aspects of Mr. Incredible staying at home with his family that's been touched on, and Elastigirl being the one going on the mission. But if something just always feels, it kind of feels forgettable at times, where like nothing really stands out. It's not really this outside of the Jack sequences we talked to death is really memorable. And I think that it was kind of predictable too with Screenslaver. So I think it's enjoyable, it's good, and I think we should have it with the 4 that we have in B tier right now.
Oh yeah, I also forgot to put this in B tier as well. My bad. I want to say that.
So then I guess I'll round this out by saying that I probably like this movie the least out of everybody then, because I don't love this movie. I think it is a really good superhero movie, but we've seen dozens and dozens of superhero movies since the first Incredibles came out, and this one just doesn't feel special to me in the same way that other ones do, and especially the first one does. I think that the animation does take a huge step up, and like like Jonathan said, the fight sequences are amazing. The train sequence is awesome. But it never feels like the action sequences have like the same emotional drive that the action sequences in the first one do. The villain is super predictable. Her name is Evil Endeavor, literally, and it's just like, okay, Broadbird, I get it. You're smarter than us. Good job. Like the climax is really like not even that. It feels like it happens and then it just, oh, it's over already? Okay, well, now what? Like the whole boat stuff, no one has even brought up like the other like side heroes that come in, and that's because they're super forgettable. Like it took me, as we were talking about this, just to remember that the main one is named Void. No one's talked about Frozone in this movie again because he's forgettable in this one. It just like there's nothing in this movie that feels special to me. And it feels like they just churned out another sequel because people had been demanding it for a while. It didn't feel like they had the idea all set to go. I know that part of that is because it got pushed up a year so that they could wait for Toy Story 4. But I put this low B, high C personally. But because of the rest of the consensus from people, I'm fine with it where it is.
Let's keep these since everyone else has talked. Let's keep. Oh, wait, except for
Artist and Nikki.
Yeah, artist.
I already said it, but I have one tiny rebuttal against Jack.
Keep it concise.
My one rebuttal is that I like how it, like, yes, people did demand for a sequel, but I like how it took more than just a few years to make a sequel. Like they thought of a plan, a design, how to put the movie together, see what new ways they can make a sequel better, but lives up to the first one. And I like how it took 10 years. Like if it was like 2 or 3 years, they just making it fast and then putting it out there. It doesn't work that well. But I like how they
Well, because that's a rebuttal to me. Can I just say something?
Since you're the one that likes it least, let's go through everyone else and we'll give you final word.
Okay.
Nikki?
I was going to say, to kind of agree on Jack's point, that what's really funny is I remember leading up to it, I kept seeing like all these, I don't know, commercials or like mini interviews with Sophia Bush, who voiced Void. Like I kept seeing her like popping up a lot, like in promotion for this. So I was like assuming she was going to be so like a huge character. And then I watched it, I was like, wait, what? She like barely in the movie. The one that I do want to like fight back a little bit though with Evelyn is, I do like that they were able to kind of reverse her motivation from Buddies, where he revered heroes and was disenfranchised. She had a very valid reason to hate them. So I do appreciate that they at least gave her a good motivation for that. But I think that's a fair point. She didn't hit as hard for me as Buddy did.
Jack, final word.
So, Pardis, just to your point real quick, like, yes, they took the time and they took 14 years in between the sequel and the original. The only reason that happened, though, was because Brad Bird said, I don't want to come back unless it's a really great idea that I have. And the idea that he churned out was like, all right, it's fine. It's a good movie, but it's not anywhere near what you had with the original. I agree. Mm-hmm. I just for me, I feel like if they had gotten that extra year to flesh everything out and it had been released in 2019, I think it could have been better, but I just there felt like there was something that wasn't fully there, and I think that really comes through with the climax, which is like super just I don't even know. I'm trying not to say it, but it's anticlimactic. So I'm fine with it where it is now, but I would move it down personally.
I'm happy with it where it is.
Cool. Then hopefully this is a quick one. Brave.
D.
C. Yeah, I would say
D.
I would say bottom of C personally.
Okay, I'm fine with bottom of C actually, considering the ones that we have left.
Jonathan.
Here's why I was so quick at C. So because the first 30 minutes are great. They're great. Where, you know, she stands up to her family. She doesn't want to marry a man. And then she loves archery. That's fantastic. When we get to the bear, where her mom turns into the bear, it's so hokey and over the top in its comedy that it's forcing itself to make us laugh, and it is manipulative. I did not cry at all. It has some great music, but yeah, I'm okay with it at C, to be honest.
I was
Go ahead.
I was quick to jump at D, but considering if we're going to do 3 D tiers, there are 3 that I will fight so hard to put at the bottom. So I'm fine with it at C, probably bottom of C, but I'm fine with it where it is right now.
Okay. Anyone with any
That's a good
strong?
point. I would also.
Strong-
Sorry, Dan.
Nope, you're fine. Anyone with strong thoughts? Since we're pretty close, Liam. Liam.
I'm probably the highest on Brave. I was watching recently. I loved the other house. I was hilarious. King Fergus, the triplets. I agree that the ending kind of like lost steam a little bit. I also think it's in C, but I also have everything in B and C. So I have it with all the movies in B tier. I really enjoy it. But I think it's the pieces has not equaled the sum of whatever I'm saying. I completely lost myself.
The whole is not greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah. But I enjoy a lot of it. And I think C is the right call, but I also think everything in B is right there with it. Let's
keep it strong since we're all pretty much in agreement. Just concise, Partis.
So I'll say this one thing. Like, we're supposed to, in the trailers, we got where she was about to go and embark on a great adventure. But then we got some of that, but then it turned out to be another story to it with her monitoring the bear, of course. And, like, that took away from the movie for me.
Okay. I think we're all in agreement where it is then.
Yeah.
Brave was stripped of the magic thanks to the bear.
Let's go with Monsters University.
Easy B.
Yep, I agree with that. High B.
Same.
I put it above Incredibles 2 in the B tier. Right
I
now.
also agree with Jack and Nikki. Yep, and Jack as well.
Before we get to Jonathan and Liam, who seemed to dissent, where would you have it, Nikki? With them?
I would have it. I would have it above Incredibles 2.
Oh my god.
Same.
Yep, I agree with that.
Oh my god.
But hey, hold on. Hey. Jonathan, what are your thoughts?
Wait. So everybody was agreeing above Incredibles 2?
Yeah,
except
The
for
3 of us all agree with that. Yes.
you and Liam.
Okay. All right. Look, I'm not saying it's a D tier movie, but I felt like that it should be behind Incredibles 2, in my opinion. Because I just felt like the fraternity stuff, the gags, the jokes, it didn't work for me. Most of the jokes didn't work for me. I understand that we need to find out where the 2 leads came from before they went to work at Monsters Inc. I understand that there are some funny bits, but as a whole for me, it just didn't quite work. I mean, I do recommend it to people marginally, but since they're all in agreement in terms of behind Incredibles 2, I would personally put it behind Incredibles 2. I think Incredibles 2 had a better story than Monsters University. I felt like Monsters University is more of a fun throwback than it is a story.
Okay, now I want to turn to Liam, who is holding up a C sign.
Ooh. I think it's C. I think we have way too many C movies in B, but not here or there. I think it's an enjoyable movie.
Stuff's going to get shifted.
Yeah, but I think everything's going to shift down or point it later. But it's an enjoyable movie. You have a great time watching it. But there's some, like, I want to say mistakes. Like, Sully and Mike don't feel like the same characters they were in Monster Inc. It kind of feels off. It kind of feels like the Toy Story 4 effect, just not as extreme or noticeable. I think it's also missing that, like, signature moment when you're walking away the film. Like, this is the moment that won me the movie over. And it just doesn't really have it. And I think that's why I have it in C, that it's fun, it's enjoyable, but it's just missing more.
Okay, Jack?
Three really quick things. One, I put it a little bit above because it has John Krasinski in it, and I love me some John Krasinski. 2, I think that the signature moment for it comes at the very end when they have the resolution with the dean, which is a sort of unexpected and kind of adult ending for a Pixar movie where it's like, yeah, college isn't for you, but that's fine. It's like not really a message that we see in many of these movies. Third thing, I just lost. Oh, here it is. The one thing that I do agree is that there is a little bit of a continuity error, but I'm willing to overlook it because I do enjoy this movie. Is that in Monsters Inc., Mike says, "You've been jealous of my good looks since the 4th grade" to Sully, but now they meet in college. That's my only thing, but I still put it in B. I still think it's a better movie than Incredibles 2. I think that's where I want to end it, but obviously people have some other things they want to say.
One, I'm willing to move it behind Incredibles 2 because I do like it, but I'm not as strong on it. Second of all, the moment for me is when Mike discovers that Sully cheated for him, because that was I could feel how crushed he was when that happened. And I appreciate that this movie has the extremely rough message of it doesn't matter how much he loved it. That was a dream that he was not capable of achieving, not through any fault of his own, just because, and that's really cynical, but I kind of appreciate that they were ballsy with that message, but shows that he and Sully were still they were still able to support each other in their careers and make up from that.
Okay, Pardis?
I love how this is the first Pixar movie to be a prequel. Like, we got the Toy Story 2s. I know this came out after, but we got the Incredibles 2 and then the Finding Dory. I just love the step that they took. They reversed it, making a prequel. And I agree with Jack with everything about this movie, like how it's the story's way bigger than Incredibles 2. And the moment that hit me as well is like when Mike find out that Sully cheated and for their team to win. So he goes and tries to make it on his own, Mike, and then the emotional value between Mike and Sully in general, like we see where they coming from, what they both want as their own person. So yeah.
Okay, so Liam, being that you have a lot of the B tier and C, where would you have Monsters University placed? Among those
ones, I have it around Toy Story 4. Like I can go above or below it, but I'm perfectly fine with it being above Cars. Like I can. What's the word? Compromise.
So as a compromise with some of that, is this placement okay?
Within the movies that we have up there, I agree with it. Yeah.
Anyone who had, I know some people had it above Incredibles 2, but is this a hill you want to die on?
No, this is not a hill that I want to die on right now.
Okay, then this is where we're going to have it for now. Next film, let's discuss my one that I know I'm in the minority of having in a top 5 is Onward. Jonathan.
Well, Pardis, I'm sorry, man, but Bugs Life is going to go back down to C. I put Onward. I put Onward in low B though. I liked it. I liked the fun brotherly bond between the characters, those two characters, and chasing the spell there. And I'm not a fantasy person, but this was a good. I'm not a fan of fantasy movies. Let's go with that. I like Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter, but I put it right there in low B, behind Toy Story 4 or ahead of Toy Story 4. It doesn't matter.
Anyone? Nikki.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say quickly, I do enjoy it. I have a B tier personally, and I find the brothers really, especially Ian, just really sweet. I'm endeared to them. What I really loved, it's so small, but something I loved was in the beginning when he had a list of things he wanted to do on his birthday, and he was just not able to getting them done. I was so relieved when he tried talking to popular kids, and then Barley comes and embarrasses him, and the reaction wasn't the kids then made fun of him. He just got embarrassed and was like, forget it. I was like, oh, thank God they didn't have the cliche of the popular kids laughing at him, because I would have lost my mind. So I was just kind of relieved that we're a little bit past that cliche, because I think that I'm glad they went in that direction.
Pardis.
I love the journey that these two brothers go on to help bring their dad back for a day. I love the journey they went through and everything. And what hit me the most was at the ending where Barley, right, the older brother.
Yeah.
He got to see his dad for the very last time while what's the Tom Holland's character name again?
Ian.
He really wanted to see his dad just for the whole day, but he didn't get to. But then he let Barley go for him instead. So it really was an emotional part where he just gave that up and let his brother go for him.
Jack.
I also kind of agree with Dan. I have a very big soft spot for this movie. I think that the ending where he's checking off all the things, realizing that Barley was really his father figure the entire time, really, really hits me. I really love this movie. I would put it. I would honestly maybe put it a little above Cars personally, but I agree it's in the B tier.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
Me too.
I also forgot to put where I would put the movie in the tier ranking. I keep forgetting that each time we do these movies.
It's all good.
But I also put this above Cars.
Okay. Liam?
So for me, I have it top of B tier. It barely misses my top 10. It's in the 10 to 13 range, so right around where we have it. I remember watching this movie the first time and thinking to myself that Ian was a loser, and then a couple minutes realizing that we're the same person.
So to answer your question, yes, Ian is a loser.
Yeah, it was a tough look. Mainly, no, I'm kidding, but I enjoy the movie. It's just misses my top 10, so I think B, high end B, is where it should be.
Any issues? Are we good with it here?
I
Above
actually like it there.
I'm good with it there.
Yeah.
And
Nikki, Nikki's got the floor.
I actually was gonna say I would be okay with top of B tier actually, but as long as it's not any lower than where we have it, I'm fine with that.
I mean, would people have any arguments putting it higher?
I'm fine actually putting it above Incredibles 2, considering my feelings on that movie. I'm fine with it there, but I'm also fine if we want to do it above MU instead.
Anyone, Pardis? I see Jonathan shaking his head. It's gonna kind of go to Pardis. Pardis, are you okay with it being above Incredibles 2?
To me, I prefer Monsters U to be in front of Incredibles 2, but if everyone else has Onward above Incredibles 2, I'll go with that as well.
I mean, we can put it here too. I mean, like I said, I'm trying to get a gauge on where everyone's interested.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, to make it quick, Incredibles 2, between Incredibles 2 and Monsters University.
I'm fine. Then I think that's a fair compromise.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I think fair compromise. Okay, which unfortunately drops Bug's Life down.
No, I'm heartbroken.
We're all gonna be heartbroken, I promise.
I know. This is a tough list. This is tough.
Let's see. What we talk? We talk that. Let's talk. Let's talk Inside Out.
S.
Oh wait, can I go last?
on.
I'm last. I'm going last.
Okay. Hold on. Jack, your assertion.
It's not my pick, but I'm putting it in S. I put it in S.
Okay.
And I put it above Finding Nemo as well.
We'll get there. Okay. Who wants to? Nikki called last, so Pardis, you have the floor.
Okay, so I put this movie in A tier because I love like how we express like what goes on Riley's mind, and not just Riley's, but everyone else's. But the moment that hit me the most was Bing Bong's death. Like we know all of us had imaginary friends growing up, and like what hit me was like he sacrificed himself to Riley to like use the wagon to rule the power of the wagon to go up from the graveyard, guessing the memory graveyard, whatever it's called. Like that really made me cry the most. I just love Ping Pong the character. He's so like I know he can be silly and goofy, but he really makes an emotional impact in the movie.
Great.
So I'll put this in A tier.
A tier for Pardis. Heard some S tier. Jonathan.
Yeah, I had to take that off because I don't want to cry over that again. Yeah.
I don't want to cry too. I'm about to.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I just saw this is the pick. This one and another movie. I saw these two movies recently, like yesterday. So Inside Out was one of them, and I think it says here behind Finding Nemo because it is so deep and engaging and original to see the psychological and mental aspects behind Riley as both a human and also the characters behind Riley, the emotions, joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. Obviously, Pardis mentioned Bing Bong. I thought it was going to be a throwaway character. He brought a lot of emotional depth into that character. Richard Kind, MVP of that movie for me. yeah, most of these moments in the movie are relatable to childhood, and also some very funny scenes. There is one funny scene towards the end that gets me every time, where a random boy sees Riley, and then we go into his emotions and goes, girl,
Oh.
and then we just see him just putting his knees up his head and going and crying. That always gets me. But I think it's S tier. I think this is a remarkable movie, one of my favorites, behind Finding Nemo. So.
Awesome. Jack or Liam? Liam?
So I have it in my top 2, so I have it ahead of Finding Nemo. I think it blends perfectly with that idea that it's kids and for adults. Like the humor from anger and fear specifically always cracks me up. I think it also touches on some really deep themes of depression, emotional growth, and also this idea of death of your childhood with Bing Bong, and just what makes up who you are and your identity to the island. I think it's, if not the best, second best Pixar movie. I think it's right where it should be right now.
Jack?
That's a picture of me crying the last time I watched Inside Out. S tier. Absolutely no. This movie makes me bawl harder than any other Pixar movie, like including another one that we will talk about later. But like this gets me every single time I watch it. It's the Bing Bong scene and the scene where sadness takes all of the core memories and Riley just breaks. That scene every single time I watch it. I don't care what like the context is. That scene will break me instantly. Like the score from Giacchino, Doctor's direction, it's beautiful. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
S tier.
Wow. Would you have it above?
Easily. Easily above Finding Nemo.
Last but not least,
oh
Nikki.
boy, I'm gonna mute.
I think this is by far the most overrated Pixar movie, hands down. I would say it's an age thing, except Jonathan's older than me, so I can't attribute it to that. And I think the problem is this movie tricked everyone into thinking it's smarter than it is. Because here's the problem. I have a few problems with it, though. By virtue of the fact that there are emotions who all have a domineering personality trait, I'm not invested in the emotions. They all kind of just annoy me. I wish we had more time with Riley because she's the well-rounded individual I want to see more of. I don't like the journey with sadness and joy. Like, to me, all the mythology, like how her personality works, like all that to me was over-explained. I just kind of wish it was a little bit of a simpler story than it actually was. Bing Bong was the throwaway comic relief to me, other than his design being kind of interesting. When I first saw the movie, I hated him, and I was not sad when he died. The second time, I liked him a little bit more. And I'm sorry. And here's the other thing. Some of the writing of this is lazy. You're telling me the joke of, oh, danger, that means shortcut. You're telling me that's a good joke? That's lazy as hell. Oh, the pizzeria conveniently has the one food she hates the most. That's not funny. That's my big problem with the movie. It's also just not funny to me. I will admit the scene where Riley breaks down, that was my favorite part of the movie because I wanted more of that. I wanted a little bit more with her. I wanted the emotions to be a little more sparing. I actually really like the Riley's first date short because of that, because it's fun seeing everyone else's emotions. But again, it's not making it overly complicated. Not all the stuff like in her, like with like the islands, like all that I think was a little bit just too much to me. So for me, I still have an A. I still think it's phenomenal. I do like the message and the metaphor. It just never worked with me the way it did everyone else.
I'm going to leave it one rebuttal. One person, anyone.
I'm saving my breath. So
I will concede that I know I'm going to lose the S tier battle, but I want at the bottom of S tier.
Real quick rebuttal.
Yeah, sorry. You're good? No?
Other
good?
picture of me crying during Inside Out.
Okay.
I'm really right now crying because of Big Bong.
Oh. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. I think he's fine.
Okay. We exercised it. We're there. We're going to keep it in S tier for now.
All right, fine. It's fine.
Well, I mean, Jonathan, unless you have, like I said, I don't want to stifle if it's something.
I know. Really quick. You didn't have any imaginary friends, Nikki, while you were growing up?
I did, but I forgot about them.
Wow. Bing Bong.
That's Bing Bong.
Bing Bong. Oh my gosh. I'm going to be crying.
Anyway, let's move on.
Keep it in S.
These spots aren't final. We're going to have a little bit of time to wheel and deal at the end. So right now, I'm going to keep it here with reserving the right to adjust it at the end. Let's talk another quick one. Everyone's favorite, Cars 2.
D.
D.
Bye. D.
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 That's my homeland in the movie. That's all I could say.
No one's got anything. Anyone have anything nice to say about Cars
Yeah,
2?
that's what I
The score
has
is
my
good.
homeland in the movie. That's the nicest thing I'll ever say.
Jonathan,
There's nothing memorable about this movie.
that's not what I asked.
Nothing memorable. Nothing funny. D tier is where it stands. That's it for me.
Jack, keep it quick.
The score is good. I like Michael Giacchino. Do. That's it. That's all I got.
Cars 2. We're done with it. Let's just
Yeah.
Yes, I agree on this one.
Toy Story 1.
Jonathan can go first because I know he loves it.
Yes, this is my number one. This, I think, for me, is that the relationship between Woody and Buzz. That's the core strength of the film for me, because they're in two opposite ends of the spectrum, in my opinion. Woody knows that he's a toy. He's Andy's favorite. Whereas Buzz thinks he's from outer space and doesn't know he's a toy, and he becomes Andy's favorite. Well, he's when Andy receives as a birthday present. And then when they both go on a journey, and when Buzz gets knocked out into the window, and then Woody gets forced. What happens to Woody? No. Woody goes with Andy to
Pizza Planet.
Pizza Planet, and then when they're left behind, it's basically a journey, a buddy comedy, like Partis referred to with Toy Story 4. It's the first of their buddy comedy journeys. I just loved it from beginning to end. It's just a simple, fantastic story. And then you got to remember, it was the first of this kind. It was revolutionary. But the villain, Sid, is great and a little scary. You got to admit, when you were watching it as a kid, you were kind of scared with those toys being put together, like Hannah's doll, with the pterodactyl and the doll.
All better now.
She's all better now. But I loved it. It's a S tier movie for me.
Nikki, I think I saw your hand up.
I do like it. I appreciate that it was groundbreaking at the time, but I can't personally use that as a reason to give it too much credit, because the animation, like the difference between that and Bugs Life in Toy Story 2 is ridiculous for only 3 and 4 years. It is the worst animated looking to me. And maybe it's just because I've watched the others so many other times in comparison, but I find almost every character in this to be kind of, not Sita as much because he's a kid, he's meant to be the way he is, but everyone else is just very insufferable to me. Woody's just really too much of an asshole. Watching Buzz just be so naive and aware of everything. It's funny, but it's also kind of uncomfortable. Mr. Potato Head is just full on a complete asshole in this. And it's just kind of uncomfortable. And again, it's funny, but it's not as in I'm not endeared to them yet. I can watch 2 and 3 without watching this one personally pretty easily. I still appreciate it. I still think it has a lot of funny moments. It is a very inventive concept, but on my personal one, I actually have this in B, but I can go A if needed.
I think I saw Jack's hand up.
I'll let Partis talk since that's
Partis,
what
go
people
ahead.
want.
Well, I only have a few things to say. This movie started it all. It started the whole life of Pixar films. Even though we had the shorts before, this movie is what started the film theatrical. And my favorite part of the movie, one of my favorite parts, is the introduction of the Little Green Men, at the arcade scene. Well, the whole arcade sequence is one of my favorites. The claw. I just love everything about that sequence.
Liam or Jack
So,
or
can we go or?
Go ahead.
All right. So I think Toy Story is the most rewatchable Pixar movie. It comes in a really smooth hour and 20 minutes. But I also agree with everything Nikki said. I think she nailed my critique perfectly. I would have it on high 8, right on the cusp of S tier. But with Finding Nemo, I think it'll keep Toy Story out. And I think giving it too much credit for being first, I don't think really means that much. I think if Bugs Life came first and Toy Story came second, Pixar will still be where it is. I feel the same way about the MCU and Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk. I just think high A is where it belongs, and it just misses because Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3 just do everything Toy Story 1 does, but better.
Jack?
I put it in A. I put it below Wall-E personally. I agree. I give it a lot of props for being the first, and it is always the first movie that I watch every new year. But there are like a couple of things in this movie that just I don't know if they're like animation, and some are animation errors, and like again, I get that it was like the first, but there's like the thing that always gets me is when the truck comes in at the gas station and Woody lies down immediately. The truck wheels stop right in front of him, but there are also 6 wheels that are also before that would have run him over. Like the eyes really get like the eyes always blink like not just barely not in sync. And again, like these are little things that I've picked up on because I've watched this movie so much,
Jack,
and I do love
voice is in sync. Your voice wasn't in sync. Your voice looked like it wasn't in sync.
I'm just like the first Toy Story then. But yeah, I put it in A. I think it's a great movie, but there are a couple of things that I can't. I just can't do it.
Okay, since Jonathan liked it the most, I'm going to give him last word.
Y'all are really nitpicky because, I mean,
we have to be with
animation with the little animation errors with the first movie. I mean,
but would have been destroyed.
Look, I'm actually okay where it is there.
Okay,
I'll compromise. I'll put it right there in high A.
Okay, fine. Then we're that's settled. We're going to put it here right now, and we'll move on. Let's discuss Ratatouille.
Ooh.
Nikki.
I just want to say really quickly, and I feel terrible. I forgot this for Inside Out, and it makes me feel better about it being where it is. Dr. Megs, who couldn't be here today, call sign Quinn, she did mention that Inside Out was one of her favorites as well as Ratatouille. So I just want to put that out there quickly. And I feel terrible. I forgot. Monsters U is also a favorite of call sign Jerry's as well. If we just want to take that in consideration, but I think they're good where they are now. All that considered, Ratatouille, I absolutely love. It's easily in my top 10. Some days it even goes in top 5. And maybe it's just because food is wonderful and we like watching the food. But it's just a really imaginative story to me. It has a great message. If anything, it's the antithesis of Monsters University. Anyone can do what they want, and you kind of have to have that balance of the optimism and the realism sometimes. So I really appreciate that. And this is one that I do like to go back to.
Great. Jonathan?
I love this movie. This is a rewatchable movie in my household. This is a movie this one makes me misty-eyed in one moment where the food critic Anton Ego tastes the ratatouille, and it just flashes back to his childhood where his mom was cooking him the food that she made in his childhood. That gets me every time because he's a very tough critic that holds the chef's foods to a high standard. And once they revealed why Ego is the way he is, it is very tender. It's a tender moment. It's a great movie. Okay, I will understand that people will criticize this movie for rats cooking in the kitchen. Yes, it's unsanitary, but it's a passionate film about food, and anyone can cook. Anyone can cook. And for me, it's a tough call between S and A because I rewatched this movie a lot. I will go with high A for now.
Being that you love Toy Story, would you have it above or below Toy Story?
I would put it below Toy Story.
Okay.
it's
Not
a
saying
tough
that's the
call.
final spot, but just
Yeah.
trying to get a range. Liam? Liam?
So I have it right now. This is the perfect spot for me. Can you hear me or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
We
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Good.
Yep.
Okay. So I have it right here. It's the perfect spot for me. I think between Toy Story and Wally, I think it's consistently across the board just great. And if anyone had in their top three, I wouldn't blink an eye. But for me, it's just missing that humor aspect that it just doesn't bring like the other that I want in my S tier. So I think S5 is perfect. Yeah, right here is perfect. It's just across the board, consistently great.
Let's see. Jack or Pardis? Pardis?
I think.
I also love this movie. I love the message, the goals of the Remy, of how like he always wants to be a cook, and yeah, I just love the setting of it in Paris, France. Yeah, Paris, France, or Paris,
Okay.
Paris, France. I like
You're the
the.
European.
I know. I feel ashamed, but I love that the cinematography is amazing. Like it really, you can see like how they created Paris in the movie. Like when we talk about Soul coming up soon, but yeah, it's a good Pixar film to me.
Great. I think, Jack, you were last.
Yeah. So this movie, I feel like I have a couple of problems with this movie that not a lot of people have. I don't love the whole subplot with the rat family, and I think that Linguini is kind of a boring character. I don't love him as he's a good character. He's not amazing, but I think I don't love him. However, every single problem that I have with this movie is completely washed away with the character of Anton Ego, who is, I think, the best character that Pixar has ever and will ever create. I think that his final monologue is the best thing that has ever been written in Pixardom. I think that his design is great. I think that they got the best voice actor. Like Peter O'Toole, like to do the voice there is incredible. I think that, like, ultimately though, I think that like the quote that always sticks out to me, and that I think that we always have to remember whenever we are watching things, is the average piece of junk is probably more meaningful than our criticism designating it so. I would put it above Toy Story, maybe even an S.
Sorry,
What
was
about
that
the Skinner? What about the Skinner character? The
Ian Holm.
Skinner again, like I think he's a very enjoyable antagonist, but I think that like Ego just shines above everybody else in the entirety of Pixar's canon.
You know what? I'm actually sold. I would put it above Toy Story. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we're good. We're good with that. Any?
Jonathan, repeat that. Sorry.
Because those two movies are the ones that I rewatch the most: Toy Story and Ratatouille.
Yeah,
and it's very neck and neck.
I would say Jonathan wanted it in front of Toy Story, Pardis.
Hey, Paulina.
Yeah, because those two movies, and also I would put Finding Nemo up there, top 3, and thank God it's an S. But it's just a movie that it's a movie where, you know, when I figure out voice characters, like characters that I figure out voices in my head, I like, oh, it's not, it's Eddie Murphy. Oh, it's Mike Myers or whoever. I mean, this is the one movie, in my opinion, where I felt like, oh, it's not this person or this person. Like I had difficult time to figure out who it is because I was so connected to the characters and to the story.
Zach and Quiz Show seem to be of the opinion that this is S. However, neither of them are on the show, so they can.
I know. It was very close for me, man.
Their
It's
S
an excellent
can stand
movie.
for suck it. Let's move on.
So let's move on. I think
Maybe in the final rankings, maybe.
Yeah, it might move up to S, honestly.
You know, I want to do another quick one. Let's talk Good Dinosaur.
D below Cars 2.
Oh, why?
This movie is horrible. I hate this movie. It's not good. The only thing that's redeemable about it is the background animation, and that gets completely marred by the fact that these characters look like the worst cartoons I've ever seen. The whole message is stupid. Spot is an annoying character. I hate this movie. with a burning passion, and it's not even my least favorite Pixar movie.
I feel like we need a tier list of all the reasons Jack hates Good Dinosaur.
You probably make
No,
one, to be honest.
Jack
Oh,
never
wow.
seen a good dinosaur. He's seen the bad dinosaur.
Okay, Jonathan.
Okay, I have a couple
I don't get it.
really quick. So one, I actually thought it was going to be his S tier movie. Okay, never mind. Anyway, no. But in all seriousness, no. The reason why it's above Cars 2 and in the D tier is because of the animation. I cannot identify with the animation in Cars 2 at all, and I was shocked that the dinosaurs in this movie were like Play-Doh.
Saturday morning cartoons.
They're like Play-Doh figures. And the best dinosaur movies are still Dinosaur and The Land Before Time, which is shocking that this is a movie that is just easily forgettable. And still one of the few movies that I have yet to revisit. So,
Nikki, Pardis, Liam, anyone?
This
I'm gonna say
movie-
that
No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Mary, go ahead.
I think it's good above Cars 2. The only reason is I think Thunderclap, I think he gets my heartbeat going for some reason. He creeps me out. Actually stresses me out for some reason. So I think, and then Cars 2 doesn't make me feel anything. So that's the only reason I have it above Cars 2.
Pardis.
The Land Before Time is a better dinosaur movie than this.
yes.
Yes.
I put this below Cars,
Wait.
like Jack
Oh, Cars
said.
2?
Below
Cars 2, sorry. Yeah, Cars 2, sorry.
We have two,
Okay.
Cars 2. I put this movie below Cars 2.
we have two below, two above, so I think it comes
Sorry.
down to Nikki as far as
I definitely have to put it above Cars 2 because Cars 2, maybe I'm just being cynical. It's clearly a cash grab, and this movie does have the redemption of the backgrounds.
It went through hell. The production and everything behind the scenes went through hell, though.
remember the raise your hand rule. We're good? Pardon.
The only thing I'll say that this put everything behind the scenes, they go through hell. Like Zach is the man.
Not what he was saying during Among Us, but you know. Okay,
You know
so
what, Dan?
what? I have power here, Pardis. Watch what you say.
Fine. Just let's continue.
Yeah, let's continue as the one running this thing. Let's discuss. Let's discuss Cars 3.
I actually like it where,
Jonathan.
to be quick, I actually like it where it is.
I actually agree with that. That's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. Right where you put it, Dan, I think is the perfect placement for it.
Awesome. Liam, you're good?
Perfect.
Pardis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
I love you all. Let's keep this train rolling. Let's talk Toy Story 2. Nikki.
Okay, it's for where everything is right now. It's S tier in front of everything that's currently there. It's my number 3 all time. It used to switch back and forth with Toy Story 3 all the time, but I at this point have it behind it. I'm so pleased with how many generals agree with how great it is. I've watched this movie so many times when I was a kid. I have it
Which one?
memorized. Toy Story 2.
Oh.
Yes, I adore this. This was my backup for the Pixar debate, actually. My backup option if I didn't get up.
Oh, sorry, Nikki. I took it from you.
No, I got my first choice. Don't apologize. It's fine.
Let's not talk about the debate. Let's get back on.
Anyway,
Okay.
but no, I think it's great. I think it does everything, like we said before, it does everything better than the first one. At this point, you are endeared to them because Woody's still pretty stubborn, but he's way the hell more likable. I love all the roundup game. I think the Prospector is a great villain. Even Al, like he's the kind of character you'd think would be a hate sink, but he's pretty funny. And then the scene when they're repairing Woody, I love this movie.
Great. Anyone else? Jonathan.
I'll go last.
Okay.
Pardis, you want to go?
Sure. I love this movie to pieces. Like it's like I said, and my poor general debate debut, which I should have done better. So I regret myself.
You tried.
Let's not talk about it.
I still feel. Yeah, let's not talk about it. So, anyways, I love this movie so much. This the best Pixar sequel to me, and right up there like with the Shrek 2s as well. And fun fact, this movie almost got destroyed. Like someone almost deleted it on accident until someone else in the Pixar people, they had an extra copy, which finally made it through. And also, this movie was supposed to be a direct-to-home video, like the Aladdin 2 and the Lion King 2 and all those. But luckily, Disney Pixar came about and said, you know what, let's make this theatrical, and it worked out well. And I love the story, how like it ups from the first one, and I just love. There's so many stuff I could say about this movie that I love, which I'll let other people have theirs.
Thank you, Jack.
This and Toy Story 3 have the exact same plot, and this one is miles and miles better than Toy Story 3. This is the Toy Story movie for me that does something for me, whereas like the other three are like much lower for me. I think that everything about the story is great. I love the humor in this movie. I think that the B plot is so good in this movie with Buzz and Ham and Rex and Slinky. They don't sideline, but they have an entire Buzz subplot with the anti-gravity belt.
Yeah,
and it's the best.
Hey! Keep on.
I'm just responding to JD's dumb comment. The Zurg stuff is
JD.
Incredible. I think like Andrew Stanton does the voice of Zurg, and it's amazing. I think again, another random thing that I will quote way too often is "Destroy Buzz Lightyear! Destroy Buzz Lightyear!" There's so much that works about this movie. I could probably have much more concise thoughts on this movie, but S tier, where it is for now, personally, I do put Inside Out above it, but I do put Toy Story 2 above Finding Nemo, and because of the way that we have it right now, right where it is.
Here's the worst take. I'm sorry, Malcolm.
4 is not better than 2. And that's coming as someone who really likes 4.
No, Malcolm.
2 is the best.
Okay, we're
2
talking
is
about
better than 4.
Okay, Jonathan.
Liam hasn't said anything.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, sorry, Liam.
It's all good. So personally, I have it number 5 on my list. I would have it above Finding Nemo, below Inside Out. I think the movie is incredibly funny. It gets funnier also every time you watch it. There's this little nuanced jokes that you just pick up when you watch it. It kind of loses me though with them driving the airport like tram back and them driving the car. Like, how does no one notice or anything bad happen? Kind of just always just like, I don't know, whatever reason, it always sticks with me. I just never let it, but I think it's still top 5 Pixar, just below Inside Out for me, and I think it's incredibly funny, a lot of great emotion. This is peak Buzz. And yeah.
Okay. And any arguments with how the list is set up? Any arguments on where it is right now?
No.
Would you fight to have it moved, Liam?
Oh, okay.
I would
All
have
right.
Inside Out top, but that's what.
Well,
Okay. Toy Story 2. It's a really good movie. I'll admit that. It is a really good movie. I don't think it's better than Toy Story 1 or 3. I think that the problem for me is it is sideswiped with a few. The comedy for me, it's a little too forced, in my opinion, regarding them driving to the airport. The climax of the film, I thought there's basically 2 climaxes in the movie. Where one that's in the airport, luggage area, and 2 is when they're on the where Jessie is still on the plane, and then Woody and Buzz are trying to get her, And I felt like, make up your mind, Pixar. That for me is where it kind of falls a little bit. Y'all didn't comment one thing. One of the more emotional parts is Jesse's backstory with Emily. Yikes!
No.
That Sarah McLachlan. Look, I love Sarah McLachlan, but jeez, her songs make you tear up. But it's an emotional moment. But I will say regarding the ranking, I'd put it. I'm gonna be nice. I'll put it above Inside Out.
Okay.
Behind Finding Nemo. I'll be nice because Nikki does not love Inside Out like I do. So I'm gonna be nice and put Toy Story 2 above it.
As long as it's an
Go ahead, Nikki.
as long as it's an S tier, I'm happy.
Anyone on
Same.
on detail having it flipped here?
I'm fine with it. Sorry, Bartis, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No worries. I'll say I also had this in S tier, so don't leave me out, please, on this.
Oh, sorry. Did you not say your piece?
No, he did. He just
did.
wanted to make sure that he got his point in about it being an S. And I agree with that. It's an S tier. I think when we rearrange, it should move up above Finding Emo, but we'll cross that bridge.
We'll see.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Or we'll cross the road with traffic cones.
Okay. I want to hear more angry tirades from Jack. Finding Dory.
D. Oh my
I also put D.
God. What a terrible movie.
Okay, but we'll get there. Nikki had her hand raised.
Well, I was gonna say, okay, upon rewatching Brave, I will put Dory over Brave and Cars 3 because Dory should not have been a protagonist in a movie. This is a case of side character who shouldn't have gotten their own spin-off. However, I did laugh at several parts of this movie. I like some of the new characters. I like Ed O'Neill. I like I like a lot of the new characters, and and again, it's not great, and maybe it's because I'm not as high on Nemo as most people, so my expectations weren't super high. But I find it more enjoyable. Brave, I get very few laughs from, so I'm probably comparing them too much. But I don't love it though. I don't want it any higher than that. But that's just all I have to say about it. I don't hate it though.
Artist.
Oh, I didn't hear my name. So I put this in D for a couple of reasons. Number one, like Nikki said, they should have made Dory the main character of her own movie. They did this like the Cars 2 situation where they saw, oh look, like in Cars, Mater was a good character, was funny. We should make him the lead in his own and have his own movie, and that failed. Which is not unfortunately because it's still bad. And then they decided the same thing with Dory, and the movie's basically the same thing from the first one, where Dory gets taken, so they have to go rescue her. And although the new characters I enjoy, it's just not a good Pixar sequel. Okay. So I put it in D.
Okay, Jonathan.
Okay, first of all, Partis, they're not finding Dory. I don't think Nemo and Marlin are finding Dory. The parents are finding Dory.
They are.
All right, they're trying.
No, but they go and rescue. They're trying to find Dory. They are in the movie. There's a subplot or whatever.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. But okay. I side with Nikki that it is better than Brave and Cars 3 because Cars 3, I just don't care about the Cars movies, to be honest. Those the sequels, and Brave, it really disappointed me. I do like it better than A Bug's Life, but if we're gonna compromise, then I would put it behind A Bug's Life in C tier because I actually like Finding Dory, and I do like her journey, her backstory with her parents. I mean, there's another misty-eyed moment where she's reunited with her parents with the great score by Thomas Newman. And Hank is awesome. Hank is one of my favorite Pixar characters ever. So I personally would put it in C tier behind A Bug's Life.
Liam?
So it seems like we have 2 C's and 2 D's. I would have it right where it is now, top of D tier. I think what makes Finding Nemo really great is just how big the setting is, and that's what makes Finding Nemo different. For Finding Dory, they really shrunk the setting to just do the what is it called, the aquarium thing? I don't even know what to call it properly, but I didn't really enjoy any of the new characters. I mean, they had to live up to the great side characters the first Finding Nemo. There is great moments with the parents, but it completely throws it away with having the fish drive the truck.
Jonathan, before Jack, I want to let Jack have a first word.
Oh, yes.
No, I want to hear Jonathan's thing first.
No.
No, I'd like to hear Jonathan's thing. I haven't raised my hand yet.
Okay. I just want to ask a question to all y'all because we did not go into depth about Cars 3. Do y'all prefer watching this again, or Dory again?
No, I'd watch Cars 3 before. I'd watch Cars 3
over Finding Dory.
Yes.
Nikki.
I think Johnny Frozen.
Okay. Can we? Yeah, Jonathan definitely froze. All I'm gonna say is I still think Dory's considerably a considerably better character than Mater. That's all I'm gonna say, and I care about her more.
Why no
Okay,
question?
Of every Pixar movie that could possibly have a sequel, Finding Nemo is the only one, literally the only one where I'm like, this doesn't mean anything. It starts and it ends. We have the message. We have every character's arc perfectly wrapped up. Why are we seeing anything related to Dory? Oh, we lost Jonathan. Okay. Okay. Why are we seeing anything that is related to like Dory and her family? Like, oh, it's a throwaway line from the first one. Andrew Stanton was so firm on the fact, like, we don't need sequels. We don't need sequels. We don't need sequels. We don't need a sequel to this movie. And then he was like, actually, you know what? We could use some more money. Let's make a freaking sequel to Finding Nemo. This is an absolutely terrible movie. It takes nothing, adds nothing to the lore of the story. It's all just, oh, remember this thing from Finding Nemo? Remember this thing from Finding Nemo? Yes, I do remember those things from Finding Nemo because it's the exact same plot. Everything about it. Yeah. Thank you, Partis. You said exactly. It's all just bad. None of it is like the only thing that is slightly better is that the water looks a little bit better in this movie. Maybe, but even then, I think that the water in Finding Nemo looks amazing and it's beautiful and it's still great to look at. I don't remember anything good about this movie. I don't remember laughing once. All of the emotion is so cheap and forced. It is awful. It's a terrible, terrible movie. This is my least favorite Pixar movie, and again, will probably remain as such. I put this in F tier. We don't even have an F tier. I put it in F tier. It's terrible. It's garbage. I don't ever want to watch this movie again. It's terrible. It's so bad. Eugene Levy can't save this movie for me, and he saves everything for me.
Okay, so Jack thinks it's bad. Gonna give,
and that's why I'm using this as my ass. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Final word from Jonathan.
Yeah, I was rudely taken off by the computer here, the internet. I don't know if that was the answer to my question before I was taken off, or my question got in. But I was going to ask. I guess Jack would know the answer to my own question. We did not go into detail regarding Cars 3 because we all just brushed it aside, putting in C tier. Would you watch Dory again over Cars 3?
Absolutely.
No. Hell no.
I could go either way.
What I'm going to do, because we've had more D tiers than C tiers, I'm going to put it at the top of D for now. Because I figure if I put it at the end of C, it's getting moved down into D anyway.
It's too high.
True.
So
I gotta be honest. Yeah, I gotta be honest. Like the remainders, like I don't think they're gonna go in the C tier. To be honest. We'll see, but
so let's talk the most recent released film. Let's talk Soul. Jack.
Jack. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be much less angry about this movie because I think this is a pretty good movie. The more that I have thought about this movie and the more I've watched it, because I've seen it 3 times now, the more that I think about this movie, the less keen I am on it, even though I still think it is very good. My biggest problem with the movie is that for the majority of it, or for at least a good chunk of it, Zach, you really don't want... Zach, we're going to go into... Can I really not go into spoilers here? Or...
Sorry, Zach. I can go to the chat when we're done.
All right, so spoiler warning right here. Zach, if you don't want to be spoiled, click away. 3, 2, 1. I really, really, really don't like the fact that Tina Fey is voicing a black man throughout the majority of this. I find that a little problematic, to be perfectly honest. I get like why, like it's like a nitpick, but like it really bothered me. And Tina, like 22 as a whole, just didn't really click with me. I talked about this a little bit on PLD stream a while ago, but part of it could be my age. I just didn't connect with a lot of the emotional themes that Doctor was trying to present. I understood all of them, and I like understand like the whole thing of like I should feel fulfilled. Why don't I in this moment? And there are these other moments throughout my life that mean less on like a grander scale, but meant more to me personally. I get all that, but I just it never connected with me emotionally the way that I think the movie wanted to. I put this at the bottom of A tier right now, to be honest. I think it's a beautiful looking movie. I think that the voice acting from Jamie Foxx is great. It is in my top 10 still for sure, but I don't love this the way that a lot of other people do.
Okay. Jonathan was next.
Actually, Nikki was next because she
You,
raised her hand next.
you and Jack had raised your hand at the same time.
That was just for me, like giving Zach the spoiler warning.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. I'm a little high on it as you. Actually, this was the other one that I did watch recently. I found it really profound for me because it is a deep movie, one of those mature Pixar films where it's more for adults than it is for children. Even though children will get laughs regarding 22 and the world, and Terry, another great character. Terry's a great character. It just clicked for me because it discusses where do you go in life, and if you have a great place in the world. I mean, there are so many great scenes for me, like the barbershop scene. The barbershop scene is fantastic. I like 22. 22 is a good character, but it's not my favorite character. His pursuit for his dream gig, I guess, Dorothea Williams, Angela Bassett, fantastic voice performance. The score, again, I'm going to praise the heck out of the score. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross is fantastic. This is a fantastic score. For me, actually, I would put it a little above WALL-E. I would still put it in A tier because I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it further because it is a recent film. I need to watch it a few more times to see if it would go up into S tier category. But S tier. But for now, like, I think this is a little better movie than WALL-E because of the journey that Joe goes through and how deep it is for me. And I didn't cry, but there was a moment where it felt like an indie artsy moment, which I was very surprised by that Pete Docter, again, the director, took a chance by. And before we move on, I want to say that Pete Docter, though, is a great director who has made 4 fantastic movies. I mean, we have, I think, 2 more to go, I think. Yeah, is it 2 more?
2 of his left, yeah.
2 more.
We have
2 more.
Left, 2 of them are his.
Yeah, 2 more to go. And yeah, he's just an incredible storyteller. And yeah, Soul should be there. So,
great. Liam?
So I think I have it above WALL-E too. I think our biggest nitpick with WALL-E was that had the third act all felt off. I feel like it's a way larger nitpick of WALL-E than Have a Soul. I kind of agree with Jack, but I haven't really figured out why I agree with Jack. Because like this missing X factor that I haven't quite figured on. Something just hasn't fully clicked. I like the humor. I like all the concepts. It's just missing something I haven't really figured out what yet. I think right now it's perfectly. I'm willing to flip flop it with WALL-E, but I would have it above WALL-E.
Pardis?
First things first, the score is gorgeous. Like just everything about the score, like with the tone of the movie, just 100% fantastic. I love the characters that we got. I love the where we got to go, like the great before, right? With the
Souls.
Yeah, the Soul World.
Great before.
We learned a lot. Yeah, but we learned a lot about that, and then we just like everything about the movie to the character designs, like how if there's this tweet I found earlier where it showed like a picture of Toy Story 1 or like it was Andy's birthday scene where like the other kids were like their character looks was exactly the same as Andy because they really didn't get the human part done or couldn't figure out the animation. But if you look between that picture and then Soul with Mr.
Joe.
Joe Gardner.
Yeah, Joe Gardner. Like you see like how much animation has passed between 1995 to 2020. And I like how they got New York right. Like they really feel like you were in New York City with Joe Gardner and Angela Bassett's character. It's just like marvelous. And I would definitely put this above Wall-E in A tier.
Nikki?
I adored this movie. I was so nervous for this since I don't hate it. I still really like it. Since I was disappointed by Inside Out, and because this was another kind of really grandiose idea that they were going to tackle and kind of like have a metaphor for, I was very nervous. I adored this movie, and I watched it with my parents, and they both really loved it as well. As a working adult, the beginning scene when he's offered the full-time job and they list off all the benefits, I was like, that is so my life right now, where it's like, do you like pick the stability or do you go for what you want? And I appreciate that they explored that it wasn't just all sunshine and rainbows, like, okay, you reach your dream, that's it. Like, they really... Like, even when people reach their dreams, like, there's still parts of it. Like, life is like, you're never going to just reach like the echelon of your life and like, that's it. Like, you're just eternally happy. There's always going to be more to it than just that. I do love the way they portrayed the great before. I thought the juries were hilarious and like, all right, like, do we have too many people who are self-absorbed now? Should we maybe do something about that? I love the jokes like that. I can't say 22 is my favorite, but she definitely could have been a lot more annoying than she was. And minor spoiler, I did actually feel for her when she becomes the lost soul and she's dealing with all the dejection, which, yes, it was self-inflicted to an extent, but I mean, even if it is, I still can't, like, just being told you're not good enough, like that's still relatable. I see where Jack's coming from with it being problematic. I'm kind of more just shocked that after what happened with Princess of the Frog that they still did what they did with it. That surprises me. But overall, I love this. I hesitate to put it in S because it is still very new, but I easily have it I would put it at top of A personally, but I don't want it below Wall-E. I would put it at top of A personally, though.
Jonathan?
Yeah, two quick things. One, like I written a review about Soul. Like I said, I put it in the level of some Studio Ghibli movies where it is deep and it really thinks about. You have to think about some themes regarding this movie. And the second, we cannot move on without mentioning this. One of the funniest jokes in Pixar history: the New York Knicks. Oh, that moment for me. It kills me when 22 just disrupts the basketball player, the New York Knicks player, and then with 1 second to go, the New York Knicks lost. that was just, it made me laugh like for 5 minutes because it's just hilarious. And yeah, I love this movie. It's definitely one of the top tier Pixar movies for me.
Okay, you trying to keep it concise, Partis, then final word from Jack.
Side note: John Ratzenberger is in this movie, but he's uncredited because he's in the memory world, the memory part of. Yeah, he's uncredited.
Yeah, he's not credited. Partis is right. I'll just say my piece real quick. I'm fine with it above Wall-E, but I think that right there is. I don't want it above Toy Story or Ratatouille.
He's in Joe's memories.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And yeah, I'm just like I said, it's not going to affect ranking. Just I have some final thoughts. I don't think age has much to do it. I'm very much in agreement with Jack on 22. I need to give this movie another watch because 22 really kind of rubbed me the wrong way for a lot of the reasons Jack outlined. I think really the best part of this movie was like the last 15 minutes when it had that tree of life kind of feel, like the very existential look. That's really what saved it for me. I wish there was more jazz in the film. As good as the score was, I wish there was more jazz. But I felt kind of tricked by the movie. I thought it was going to be Pixar's exploration of the afterlife. I don't think it was bad what they explored, but I think that's something that I do hope we see from Pixar which I don't know if we will with what we got with Soul, but I thought it was going to be interesting. We talked about emotions with Inside Out. I think exploring death from a child palatable sense is something that would have been very interesting and up Pixar's alley, but that's just my let's talk Toy Story 3.
I'm gonna go last on this one. Jonathan.
Anyone?
Oh, no,
Jonathan
I was
has
raising. Yeah.
Oh, Jonathan. Sorry, I didn't see your hand.
I'm sorry. Maybe I should just put my hand up here since
Yeah,
it's
that helps. That helps.
camouflaged. Anyway, very quickly, S tier. The ending for me makes me cry every time. That's it.
Okay. Nikki Partis.
Oh, Nikki, since you said Nikki first, I'll let Nikki go.
I'll be quick. I love this. I go back and forth with this and Toy Story 2 all the time. I love them both. And yes, I know that they're basically the same story, and I do agree with that criticism, but I still think they both do it very well. Barbie and Ken are hilarious to me together. They're two of my favorite just Pixar characters, period. I think Lotso is a very good villain. I just love this so much, honestly. Like, I don't even have words, and I think a lot of the jokes do work very well. I do think, like, the one thing I will say is, like, I think at times it goes a little bit off the deep end. It wasn't as big a tearjerker for me when they're about to go in the incinerator, because it's like, I know that they're not going to actually die. Like, they're not going to go that far. But I still love it. I still think it's very funny and heartwarming. And also, Ghibli referenced Totoro make his cameo as one of Bonnie's toys, and that made me very happy.
Really?
Partis.
Nikki, you're done, right?
Yes.
I love this movie so much. It's the culmination of the whole franchise. And there's two moments where I cried so much. When they're in the incinerator, getting burned, about to get burned, and also when Andy took one last look at the Woody and the gang said, "See ya, pal." And the hurrah moment I had was like when
It's so long, partner. Yeah.
Oh, so long, partner.
Yeah.
Well, so long, partner. That made me cry to tears because I grew up with my toys. I loved it very much. My toys very much, and also my hurrah moment. I was about to say, like when they're in the incinerator, then they got saved by the green little men. They said when they used the claw or like the
claw.
Yeah, that like it's like that's my hurrah moment. Like I clapped so hard in the cinema where I was at. I was like, heck yeah! And like just like everything about the movie is like the darkest that they've gone. Lotso is an amazing villain, way better than Sid, of course. And yeah, just like everything about the movie, its emotional value. And I'm so glad it got nominated for Best Picture. And I believe that it should have won Best Picture. But yeah, I put this movie in S tier.
Liam.
So for me, I think it's S tier. I think this is my number one. This is a movie. I've never had a movie make me feel more guilty watching, which is crazy because I'm white.
Wait, what did you say?
I think that's the quote of the night. I think we got it.
Wait, I missed the quote. What did he say?
Made him
never-
feel the most was weird because he's white.
I love the escape scene. I think the humor's on point. Like you guys mentioned, the emotion point. I think it wrapped up the trilogy perfectly. I think it was just a perfect finale, and I love this movie.
Okay, so let's save Jack from the migraine it looks like he has and let him speak.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
I'm
scared.
I'm just gonna say this. I'm outnumbered 4-1 in it being S tier, so I can't, and I'm fine with it being at the bottom of S tier right now. I don't think it's better than any of these three. First of all, Partis, I just want to say Social Network should have won that year.
Agreed.
Sorry, that's just the fact.
I love Social Network.
Yeah, it should. It's a better movie than Toy Story 3. It should have won. If I personally in my Pixar rankings, this is mid B tier for me, but I'm not gonna say anything else further than that. It's gonna stay in S tier for now. But that's just I don't love this movie the way that everyone else does, and that's probably because I don't love the Toy Story franchise as a whole the way that everyone else does. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not arguing anything else about this movie. It's staying in S tier. That's fine. But so I don't really have any other thoughts on this.
So after 3, that's all I'm going to say is let's turn it over to Jonathan for final words.
Yeah.
No, I was going to ask the ranking of in the S tier because 4 of us think it's S tier. I would put it above Toy Story 2. I like Toy Story 3 better than 2, to be honest.
Okay, let's.
Okay.
Wait. You're saying you like Toy Story 2 more than 2?
No, I said 3 better than 2. 3 better.
I heard 2 more than 2.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
3 better than 2.
You clarified though.
Anyone?
I don't think it's better than Inside Out, first of all, and I definitely don't think it's better than Toy Story 2. I think 2 is the best one. They're, again, like I said, they're the same. They're basically the same movie. I just think that 2 does it better.
Yeah, Liam, where would you have?
Also does it faster.
I agree. I half agree with the Jack. Toy Story 3 and Inside Out always flip-flop my 1 and 2, just depending on the week. I think it is better than Toy Story 2. I have Toy Story 2 on the cusp of S tier, just making it at the 5th spot, and I actually have Finding Nemo, the 4 up there at the bottom.
Nikki?
So, like I said, for me, because that and Toy Story 2 flip-flop for my overall 2 and 3 all the time, but because I do know everyone here loves Inside Out more, or almost everyone likes it more than 3, that I'm okay with it being where it is, but I would personally have it near the top. But I know I'm not going to win that fight. But
Just
go ahead, Nikki, finish.
just a heads up to everyone. We have 4 films that may all be vying for A and S tier. So
That's true.
keep that in mind. That we have 4 quality.
I'm not going to fight this battle.
Pardis.
Since we're down to Toy Stories, my rankings of the film is 2, 3, 1, 4.
Yeah,
Oh
I do think that 2 is better than 3, and I think that Inside Out is better than 3. So I'm fine with it being right here where it is. Again, especially probably because I'm the lowest on Toy Story 3, but I'm fine with it being right here.
I see Jonathan being very disagreeing.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Saying I'm just
Yeah.
checking.
Yeah, we have a list.
We have 4 movies left, and they're going to be the most contended.
Yeah, and I'd like to get them done in an hour or less, if possible.
Less, please.
But are Nikki and Liam, are you okay with the spot it's at?
Yes.
Mostly.
I would.
I mean, just Finding
Are you
Nemo is
okay
my
with this compromise here?
compromise? Yeah, outside of Finding Nemo, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk Monsters Inc.
Ooh.
Nikki.
S. This is my 4th favorite easily. When I rewatched it recently, I'm struggling to even think what my issue was with it. It was probably something to do with like the way the factory and like how the whole system operates. This movie is basically perfect to me. I love it. It holds up perfectly. If I ever have a daughter, she's going to be Boo for her first Halloween. Like it's not even going to be an argument. I'm gonna make that happen. I just adore it. It's hilarious. It's heartwarming. So to me, it's S. That's it.
Pardis.
Are you sure we can swear?
Yes,
Yes.
we've all sworn.
I fucking love this movie so much. I remember my mom took me to see this movie in theaters when I was young, and this movie's just been like part of my life for all these years. The score is amazing. The characters are amazing. I love the world of Monstropolis and the world building of like through the doors, where if you go through a door, it takes you to like a certain part of the world. I just love like the villain it's incredible. The relationship between Buzz. No, my gosh.
Buzz.
No,
Was that a cameo?
Sorry.
you know what I mean.
and Sully.
Mike and Sully, and the casting for those two is perfect. Like no one could do better than Billy Crystal and John Goodman. They were born to play Mike and Sully, and they nailed it perfectly. I have a bunch more to say about this movie, but since we don't have enough time, I'll let others talk. And this movie is S tier.
Jack.
Put it at S and put it above Finding Nemo. That's all I'll say.
Liam.
So I have it above Finding Nemo. Monster Inc. is my favorite Pixar movie, but I don't think it's S tier.
Wow.
I have it around mid to low A. I think the humor is perfect. I love all the characters. But for S tier, it kind of needs that signature emotional moment. And the returning the Boo or whatever just never really landed with me the same way that I want my S tier moment to have. And once again, this is my favorite movie. So, I mean, I think it's hard removing nostalgia from the conversation when trying to tier it. And maybe I'm going overboard trying to remove nostalgia, but I think it's mid A. I have it around Toy Story, above Soul, but definitely above Finding Nemo. So Finding Nemo is an S tier, Monster Inc. is an S tier for me, but yeah.
Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm going last on this one. Okay. I'm not going to put it above Finding Nemo. I'm so sorry. Monsters, Inc. It is a really good movie. I was impressed by this movie. This is actually the movie I came to pretty late in my life, because when I watched the trailer for it when I was younger, it didn't really connect to me. I didn't love monsters. I just didn't want to watch a movie about monsters, and I was like, yeah, let's just hold it off, see what happens. And I regret missing out on this movie, to be honest, because it is a deeper movie than I thought. Yes, Sully and Mike are great. Billy Crystal and John Goodman are great, but the
Not
emotion.
Buzz.
Let him talk.
Okay, all right. Mike and Sully are great, but the most surprising element is the relationship between Sully and Boo. Now, Liam, you said it lacked emotional depth in Boo. I disagree. I think the ending for me, where Boo has to say goodbye to Sully, that was emotional, and especially the last shot of the movie. I think it has one of the most emotional last shots in a movie I've ever seen. Just because we see Sully opening the door and then we hear Kitty. And that's the last line of the movie. Kitty. That broke me. I was like, oh, like I was crying for like a few minutes because I was like, oh man, y'all got me. But in terms of ranking, I would put it behind Toy Story 3 in S tier, because I think the first four for me just had impact for me, more impact for me. It was an A tier for me because it surprised the heck out of me on how much I liked this movie. But I'm not as high about it as many people are.
Nick, I saw Nikki's hand up before Jack, so then Jack.
All I was gonna say is Jerry said this was his favorite.
That's actually what I was going to say. Justice for Jerry. Justice for Jerry.
Sorry.
No, but I don't.
Justice for Monsters Inc. questions.
I do want to point out that neither Jonathan nor Liam do want it this high. So if we want to move it down, I just hate that Nemo is as high as it is.
We are having a period where we can negotiate placement.
Yes.
All right, that's fine.
We'll come back to it.
We'll have it here for now.
I'm actually surprised that I thought Jack was going to pick this.
We still got.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling he's going to wait till.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
I know his plan.
Wait a minute.
That's all I'll say.
Okay. Nikki, you want to start this one, or you want me to?
I mean, you guys know exactly where I want this. I was shocked by this. I made my top 100 movies recently. This actually ended up at the top. Yes, over Legally Blonde. I love it. But let me say this. I 100% agree. The beginning is the best part. I'm not going to dispute that. It is the best and most heartbreaking part of the whole movie. And I get why the rest of it doesn't click with everyone. But I love Russell. I think he's adorable. I think the little boy who voices him, Jordan Nagai, does a great job. I think, and the thing, like the little scenes of him with Kevin when they first meet and he's like dancing around with Kevin, like that's adorable. I think the dogs are funny. Now I will admit, like the collars, like that is a little bit of a cheap joke. And this is one where I think it's more like the great moments of it are what elevate the weaker parts to me, because a part that everyone forgets about that makes me cry in addition to the beginning is when Muntz has taken Kevin. Carl is in the house alone because Russell's mad at him, and he finds the book and he like sees the final note from Ellie telling him like, please, we had our adventure, now go live yours. And that's such a sweet touch. It's heartbreaking. And it brings me back to it. And again, I will concede there are parts of it that are weaker than others, but to me, the highs are really, really high, and you can't dispute how amazing the balloons look when they're first unveiled, because that is a trailer moment, but for me, it's just as great when I see it in the movie.
Jack.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's probably my second or third favorite movie of all time. I love this movie. I love everything about this movie. I think the humor works amazingly. I think the emotion is incredible. The first 10 minutes, yes, are amazing, but that moment that Nikki's talking about is the one that always gets me as well. The other moment that I think, again, goes very underappreciated is the moment when Carl and Russell are under the house and the line of "Phyllis isn't my mom." That kills me more than anything else in that movie. It's beautiful. I think that the humor in this movie is like, this is the hardest I ever laugh at Pixar. Usually, someone's echoing. By the way, I don't know who it is. Anyway, like the dog collar, I get that people are like hit or miss on that. The treat scene when Munt's like, "Oh, it's a pleasure having guests. A real treat. Treat. Where's the treat? I want the treat." That gets me every time. The small mailman and the one who smells of prunes is amazing. I love Muntz as a villain. I think Christopher Plummer voices him amazingly. I think that Bob Peterson as both Doug and Alpha is great. I do not like the Cone of Shame. I could quote this movie for days and days on end. Great. I have a grape soda pin somewhere in my room. I think I have that on my Disney lanyard. I adore this movie. I think top of S tier is where it belongs right now. Absolutely brilliant. Love it.
I bought this just real quick. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nikki.
I was gonna say I bought this for my first general debate, and I decided to keep it because I loved it that much.
Is this your choice, Jonathan or Jack? Sorry.
Huh?
No, it is not. But this is
okay.
See, I'm telling you, he's gonna wait till all done ranking movies.
Hey,
I change my mind. This is my real one.
We'll see.
a good dinosaur, you guys. Yeah.
Jonathan.
Oh boy, I'm gonna break Nikki's and Jack's heart. So okay, the first time I saw it, I loved this movie. The first time I saw it, I loved it. But there have been better movies ahead of it since Up, and it has waned on me the next few viewings because the beginning is a masterpiece. The beginning is like one of the best Pixar, I think probably the best Pixar short ever made, in my opinion. Like the beginning of Up with Married Life and Giacchino's score, fantastic. It deserved the Oscar that year. For me, I didn't think the comedy it was not that funny. I didn't think it was that funny. I will admit the first few times where we hear Alpha's dog collar voice, where it's just high pitched, he looked kind of like a Clint Eastwood dog-alike character. Like no. So, and then we hear the actual voice, like, "Thank you, master." And then Russell makes a funny comment where, like, "I like his other voice better." That gets me. But for me, it's just the tension in the climax. It just never makes it up there in terms of it doesn't register for me, because I just didn't frankly care about the villain. I did not really love Kevin's story. I cared more about Carl's journey than I do with the Muntz storyline. I mean, Jack pointed out to obviously the beginning, but also the scene where he looks at the photo album. That's a great moment. But other than that, like for me, I would put it actually in mid-A tier, behind Toy Story.
Partis.
Okay. The villain doesn't add anything to the movie. He just shows up he's just there as a plot point. Like he doesn't add like anything, no value to the movie. Like this movie could have worked without the villain. And this movie, yes, the beginning could work as just a Pixar short, but the everything of the rest was like it's a good story, but it's like not Pixar level. And also dogs flying planes, like
oh, forgot about
come
that.
on now.
It's hilarious.
Yes.
It is, but like
It's Star Wars.
you see a bulldog, just like no, was it a bulldog?
That's one of them, yes.
That's one of
Yeah.
them.
Dogs are wish.
Well, like that those parts were for kids to enjoy. Like, but like the
But-
movie.
But I'm just saying,
Highlight this comment
finish,
from Monty
let him
real quick.
Let him finish.
Wait, what about Monty?
Just highlight this comment from Monty. Pardis, go ahead.
oh wait, hold on.
Like just everything about the movie is like okay, so they go on an adventure, but like there's stakes, kind of stakes. But like the only thing I'll say, the character Kevin, I do enjoy. Like when he's feeding him the chocolate, like just like Kevin, I like the coloring, the color of the feathers, just everything about Kevin. I do still think it's a good Pixar movie, but I would put this in A tier, like right between Soul and Wall-E.
Ooh.
Liam.
So like up for me is kind of what Inside Out is to Nikki. I think we flopped on that one. Like, I understand why people enjoy it, but it doesn't. Like I found it like when I was like however old when I first saw it in theaters, I thought it was kind of boring. It was one of those movies.
When you
that
were 5?
I mean, I was probably like 10.
I would not put it there.
I'm 9, I think, probably. But that's I can't hear. But it's one of those movies. When I got older, I started looking at Pixar rankings. It was like this and Wall-E, the two that surprised me were so beloved. So I just didn't realize it in the moment. I think the score Russell kind of annoying. I do agree that Doug and his humor really does work for me, but
Yeah.
I found like the middle just like much to overcome. I mean, just flow wise.
He's breaking up.
Am I breaking up?
Yeah.
A little bit, but you're fine.
Okay. Well, I have
Continue, though.
I think it's great, but there's still stuff that just keep it on that.
So,
Oh.
wait, Nikki. So Nikki's hand first.
Yeah.
Just a rebuttal to Jonathan's point. Okay, yes, Carl's story is better because he's the protagonist. Muntz, we spend more time with him for a reason. And yes, I'm not going to act like Muntz is like the Joker or Vader or anything as far as villains go, but I do like that we wrap back around him because he is an example of just the deflation of. He was basically the person that brought Carl and Ellie together, that he inspired them. And just to have that kind of shattered and show that because he was searching for this very superficial fame because his reputation was ruined. But it was Carl and Ellie who kind of just appreciated like the simpler things in life. They prioritize things. It's subjective, but to me, like that was just like that contrast was profound the more I thought about it. And again, it's like he's a weaker part of the movie, but again, it's not to the point where like it brings it down for me at all, personally. But and then something that was interesting because like I've said a lot, but my parents both loved this movie. My dad said this was the best movie he's seen in the past calendar year. And I think part of maybe what the disconnect is they both think it's a little bit more mature than other ones. So, and I'm not saying that like to say like, oh, people, you just don't understand. I think that might be responsible for why it doesn't all have the full appeal to people, because some of the things that like that portrays, it's different than a lot of things, even though it does have juvenile jokes, but I think that might be part of it as well. But I can stop talking.
Okay. Then final word to Jack. Please keep thoughts concise. We're doing well.
The rebuttal of Nikki is that so this is like most movies have like this movie could have worked without the villain, but they said let's just throw in a villain to movie to make it let's throw in a villain just for the heck of it. Like he adds nothing to the movie. Like he's just there as like I said earlier, like as a villain plot point. But like this movie could work without the villain. Like yeah, that's my only rebuttal.
Okay. Final word to Jack.
Okay, if I may. No, it couldn't, because without Charles Muntz, Kevin doesn't get injured. Kevin doesn't get injured. He doesn't get taken away. He doesn't get taken away. We don't have the conflict between Carl and Russell. We don't have the conflict between Carl and Russell. We don't get to that final battle. It's about setting up the plot points. Muntz is there to drive Carl's plot, both emotional and the overall story, home. It's about the relationship between Carl has with Russell and that Carl has with Ellie overall. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal film. It has great humor. It has great heart. I am so in putting it up on S tier. Not gonna use my thing yet, even though every part of me is telling me to. I'm not going to. I'm just going to fight that much harder to put it up in S tier. It is so much better.
See, this is the movie you put for S.
No, it's not actually. It's not. It's not my one. I'm not picking that.
Unfortunately, we have more A tiers. I know than S tiers, so that's why I'm putting it at the top of A tier to try.
That's fair.
But
for me.
I do think that it belongs in that S tier.
Then we'll have opportunities to wheel and deal at the end, hopefully. But let's be quick about the next one then, which I doubt will happen. Coco. Jack.
High A, in between Ratatouille and Toy Story.
Oh.
Any more? Is that it?
Hey.
When I call on you.
Oh, I didn't hear Jack's done.
I saw Liam's hand prior, so I'm going to call on Liam before I get. Yep.
So I'm okay with it being an A. Coco's one of those movies that I think if someone had it as the number one, like I can see it, but it just never hits for me. I just never impacts me the same way. Moments ever hit me and kind of just go through. I found it predictable. I saw the Ernesto de la Cruz twist coming. I saw Hector being his great grandfather coming, and just it's enjoyable. And I think if we had it where it is right now, I would be okay with moving Wally down. But for me, I would have it at the very top of B.
Okay. I saw Nikki's hand, then Pardis, and Jonathan. You had your hand up longest during that, but you were last among last hands. So I'm going to Nikki, Pardis, Jonathan.
I think this movie is great. I actually would keep it where it is now, better than Toy Story, but not as good as Ratatouille. Getting in my real criticism that I couldn't during the debate. Okay. What makes this movie kind of ridiculous to me is the conflict in the family. So over 4 generations, no one called out the fact that this edict against all music was stupid, which it is. I'm sorry. If she didn't want a certain song, fine. If she didn't want style music, fine. All music for 4 generations. That is, and they try to paint it as funny. That's absolutely, that's not loyalty. That's insanity. But I think that part was stupid. But I do think this movie is otherwise pretty great. And I appreciate, again, the themes about family, about the culture, about Dia de los Muertos. And I think, and there are parts of it that do really get to me. But it was, upon my rewatch, not as great when I first saw it. It didn't hold up as well. But, and as good as the song as it is, I don't ever hear anyone talk about Remember Me, honestly. But I do think it's still great, but I think it's good where it is.
Pardis.
The score is amazing. I love the journey with Miguel, like trying to get back to the real world. I like how the Day of the Dead world, like the world building and how like we see like the full arc of it, and like Nikki says, I do agree with her how like 4 generations or so, like no music, you can't get away with no music. Or I'm saying it wrong. You can't have. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, but like the villain Horace, was it the uncle or the?
Ernesto de la Cruz.
Ernesto. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm gonna feel much better in my match now.
So, anyways, we did.
Go ahead, Pardis.
Thank you. So we did see the villain coming. I don't know if everyone else knew about it, but like the second, like I knew the uncle was the actual uncle, the grandson, or I don't know the history with the family whatsoever, but I do think this movie belongs between Soul and, well, now not anymore because Wally's now down to B. I would put it above Wally, or above Wally, or in the B, or below Soul and A.
Then Jonathan.
Actually, Nikki pointed out the one criticism I was going to make. So I'm going to set that aside. The one flaw, well, not flaw, but the thing I had was and this was before the movie came out. I did not understand why they were putting food in the graveyard. And after while I was seeing the movie, I was like, oh, interesting take. Okay, I understand. So it is basically a religious thing with me. I think it's a gorgeous movie. It is a great movie. It has definitely the moment between Coco and Miguel. The moment they sing "Remember Me" towards the end. Whew, tears.
Yeah.
That gets me every time. But to make it quick, to make it a compromise, y'all are basically making Toy Story unfair to me, downgrading it a little further down. So I'm gonna just put it. I wanted to put it there. Yeah.
I'm actually okay with that. I like it more than Toy Story, and I probably would personally put it a little bit higher overall. But in terms of our compromise tier list, I'm fine with it there.
That's fine.
Everyone good with that?
Yeah.
Sure.
And yeah, to Jonathan's point, my 2 cents, the "Remember Me" at the end between Miguel and Coco is probably the most emotional Pixar scene to me, even more than the Bing Bong stuff. I think it's just wonderful.
Whoa. More than Bing Bong?
Mhm.
Whoa,
Yep.
whoa.
It's more emotional than Bing Bong.
All right,
But
Jack.
Anyhow,
I disagree.
I saved my personal favorite for last. Incredible.
Jack.
Yep. No, go ahead. Say. I didn't raise my hand. Say your pieces.
No, I wasn't. Let you have the floor.
Let's discuss.
Yeah. No, go ahead and discuss.
Okay, The Incredibles. All right, I'll go.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Jonathan, go first.
I adore this movie. I love this movie. This is one of my favorite Pixar movies ever. This is the Fantastic Four. This is the best Fantastic Four movie ever made right now until a great Fantastic Four movie comes along. I just loved everything. Probably the best villain in Pixar history. I think Syndrome is probably the most fleshed out character villain for me. And also, I got to credit the writers for creating a badass villain name in the beginning, Bon Voyage.
The writer, Brad Bird. Genius.
Writer Brad Bird. Yeah, that is a badass name. So everything about this movie is fantastic for me. This is S tier for me. This is my number 2 behind Finding Nemo.
Nikki?
I was gonna say this one never hit me as hard as most people, but I do love it. I'll go on my initial list. I had Bomb Bay, but I could easily go lower S. I do love it, and I love, like, even though it's this movie about superheroes, just like the little moments, like the realism, like Helen being excited, like, we finally moved in. It's been 3 years. Yeah, but we finally moved in. Or like just the dynamic between the family. I mean, it's a little bit cliche, like Violet and Dash's dynamic as brother and sister, but I just love the way it all comes together. And we can't forget Edna. We just have to bring up Edna.
Oh yes,
Edna Mode and guest.
No guess.
That's all I have to say.
Partis or Liam?
So this movie. Sorry, what?
What's our procedure?
Let's make it quick though. Let's
Wait, did you say mining first or?
Yeah, part of the
Fine,
I'm just gonna go.
Go.
So, wait, what?
Go,
but make it quick.
Okay.
Someone go.
So I love this movie more than the second one. I love the character designs of the film. I know I said that for the other ones, but I love the superhero outfits of each of the superheroes. Syndrome is one of the best villains ever made, not even in Pixar, like in the whole movie universe or the film history. He's one of the greatest villains ever. I love the action scenes, like especially when Jack runs on what? Not Jack. Dash. Dash runs across on water to get away from the henchmen. I just love everything about the movie and this. And yeah, I put this in A above up.
Liam?
Yeah, I think I'm good. I think high A is perfect.
Jack?
You want to put that in high A?
Yeah.
All right. So
That's
that
not
would
your
bump.
S tier, isn't
That
it?
would bump Soul down to B then, wouldn't it?
It does.
That's not your
Alright.
S tier, isn't it, Jack?
Hold on, I'm trying to look at this list and see what's up.
Here it
It's like-
goes.
Your award didn't say where in S tier the film went. It just says it was S tier.
No, but I feel like top of S tier was implied. I don't know what Nikki's column that was, but I felt like around the top of S tier was implied in the prize.
Apply.
To Nikki. You're muted.
Nikki, you're muted.
You muted.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you now.
For whatever reason, the audio went out a little bit. Can you say that again?
So where does my prize include it being at like the top of S tier, or does it just include it being in S tier?
The technical prize was you dictate the placement of one film. It doesn't even have to be S tier.
Oh, I dictate the placement of one film.
Oh, they're interesting.
That
Yeah.
you were the exact
Okay.
number.
All right.
I'm sorry, I
Please
apologize.
don't take 25 minutes to answer.
No, I won't. I'll make this pretty quick. So
Here it goes.
this was a very tough choice between two movies that are both in A tier and that I think both deserve to be in S tier. And it's favorite versus best for me. But if we're talking in terms of what I love more than really anything else, like, God, it's difficult because I will never forgive myself if I don't put Up at the top of the list. I'm sorry.
Yes! Oh my god!
Damn. Oh
Thank
shit.
you. Thank
I
you.
will
I'm
never forgive myself if I don't put Up. I'm so sorry.
I'm so glad you beat Liam twice
Oh
now.
my gosh.
And there's no arguing. There's no arguing
No,
about
there's no argument. So Zach, you can shut the fuck up.
I'm gonna
When I
meet
think-
Zach tonight. I want to ask him how he feels about that. So
Okay.
Oh, Jack.
I don't even care. Like Zach, you can take two of these and call me in the morning. Up is the best Pixar movie.
Yes.
It is. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm sorry, Liam. If you disagree, you should have done better in trivia.
Okay. Hey,
You've already covered up.
we're done. The one thing that really can't be changed now is Up is the number one film
Oh,
per Jack's.
Crap.
He
Yes,
earned
it
it.
is.
Earned it.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
I announced this.
Go ahead, Nikki.
I announced this before we did trivia, so it's not a case of. And I seriously thought I was gonna pick Incredibles. So
I thought I was too. I was going into this. I was going to pick Incredibles, but like, because here's the thing. I thought that Up was going to make it into S tier regardless, and because of that, I was saving myself for Incredibles. But like, if Up couldn't be an S tier, I had to put it in there. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we are no longer discussing Up. We are going to give you 15, 20 minutes to wheel and deal. If it takes less time, fantastic. But I will give each of you one opportunity to request a change. And by change, I mean flip-flopping two movies. No drastic. It has to be just flip-flopping. So each
No
of you,
drastic.
no, you can't jump a whole tier. Like you can't jump more than
So it
two
has to
movies.
stay in the tier.
No, you can't. It's only flip flopping single spaces. You can't jump
Okay.
two movies.
Ah,
So each of you can make a request to flip two movies that are next to each other, despite their tier placement.
I think we should take a vote on that as well. Majority wins vote.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you could waste it if majority doesn't go with it. Whoever picks it gets an argument, and there's a vote. There's no rebuttal. I'm trying to get this done quick.
Okay.
So we're going to start just in the order. Nikki, what is your request to flip?
Okay, I'm so sorry. Every time I get out of full screen, like the audio completely goes out. Can you just quickly recap that? So it's only two that are next to each other.
Yep, and it doesn't matter. So you could ask for Inside Out and Toy Story 3 because they're next to each other.
Mhm.
But you pick that, you give your reasons, and there's a vote. There is no rebuttal.
All right, and we
majority
get
wins.
one each.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. All right, give me just 1 second.
Oh,
This is
There has to be one. I need to think about this through as well.
Okay,
Everyone-
all right.
Everyone, think of it now as we're going. I don't want to take more time thinking about it as until when we get to you.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna ask. Can we flip Nemo and it Monsters Inc?
And you get give you a few seconds to say why.
Okay. I kind of got one of my reasons, but Monsters Inc. I think emotionally hits home a lot better for me. I think every single character, Sully, Mike, Boo, are better than Marlin, Dory, Nemo. Like some of them, I go back to rewatch a lot more. I think it's a lot funnier. I think that Nemo is gorgeous, but I think I just love monsters so much more personally. And I mean, hey, you can say it's not sullied by a bad sequel.
Okay. So
That's silly.
And you get a vote as well because we need an odd number to vote. So
Yeah.
all in favor of flipping Finding Nemo and Monsters Inc., raise your hands.
Sorry, what?
Well,
All in favor of flipping Finding Nemo and Monsters Inc. Raise your hand.
Okay.
And yes, I'm sorry, it's unrelated. God.
Jack.
I would like to flip Onward and Incredibles 2. I think
Okay.
that Onward packs a much more emotional punch. I think that the fantasy elements really work very well for the film. I think that the voice talent of Chris Pratt, Tom Holland, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Octavia Spencer is really good. I think that it has one of the best emotional beats at the end of the Pixar film when Ian is checking off all the points on the list. I think the humor really works for the movie. I agree with Nikki. I'd like that little scene in the beginning when it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, we're now going to bully the main character because he's weird. It's just like, it's just a thing that happens and he himself feels embarrassed by it. I think that it is a really great movie, and I think that Dan Scanlon is the most underrated Pixar director.
Okay. All in favor of flipping Onward and Incredibles 2, raise your hand. Majority has it.
This
Pardon.
is not a good night for me.
Well, I was gonna say A Bug's Life over Toy Story 4, but I know I would get shot down, so I
You don't know.
decided.
You don't know?
Oh no, I know for a fact the majority is gonna say no to that. So
You
then
don't know.
yes, I'm not gonna take that chance. I'm not gonna take that chance. So wait, what did Jeff say?
What's your choice, Curtis?
My choice is Monsters University over Incredibles 2. I feel like I like the prequel idea more than a sequel to Incredibles. And just look at the heart and the charm in Monsters University. And it has that important emotional core at the end, like when Jack was saying earlier about Dean's
Hard Scrabble.
hard scrabble, her telling Mike and Sully that you don't need to go to college, it's fine. And this is a perfect film for not a sequel, but it's really a prequel.
Okay. All in favor of flipping Incredibles 2 and Monsters University, raise your hand. Pardis, I'm assuming you're voting for it.
Yeah, that's what I picked.
Oh my
No,
god,
raise
this
your
is
hand.
so hard.
Even though I said
Yeah,
it,
raise your hand anyways.
Majority has it.
Yes.
Thank you, Nikki.
That was really hard.
Oh, and
Yes.
3 here. My God.
No, not for the last one. It wasn't 3. It was 4.
I know for
No,
Bugs Life
he's
and
0 and 3 in terms
4,
of his notes.
I'm the
Oh,
only one with the hand raised.
Oh.
Yeah, the first two are 4-1.
This is ridiculous.
Liam, what's your choice?
So wait, it's a 2-movie, right? So hypothetically, I could put Finding Nemo at the bottom of that tier.
No.
No, you could put Inside Out. You could
Monsters
put,
Inc. or Toy Story 2.
Okay, I want to flip Toy Story 2 with Finding Nemo then.
Okay, and you have a few seconds to argue why.
I think Finding Nemo is really enjoyable. I think Toy Story 2 is just more enjoyable. I think I never felt we had a chance to argue where Finding Nemo was there because it was the first one there and it kind of just stuck at the top. I feel like it should be moved down.
Okay. All in favor of flipping Toy Story 2 and Finding Nemo, raise your hand. Majority has it.
Oh my God.
Wait, sorry.
you would vote. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jonathan, here's your chance. Here's
Sorry,
your chance,
sorry.
Jonathan.
What the hell is this?
I thought you were talking about Monsters Inc. and Toy Story 2. My bad. But yes, I raised my hand. Toy Story 2 over Finding Nemo.
Jonathan,
Yay.
here's your chance.
My God. Okay.
Cars over Incredibles 2.
Yeah, that's my choice. Okay.
Go swing for the fences, Jonathan.
My
Do it.
God. Yeah, I want to put Toy Story 3 above Up. That's my choice. Now, I'm gonna make this interesting. I'm gonna make this interesting, actually.
Okay.
Because I just saw this, I want to put Soul in bottom of A tier and put Coco in top of B tier.
Coco and Soul.
Oh.
Make your case.
Yeah, you have a few seconds.
Okay, because no,
So you're saying
because
Soul. You're saying Soul. So Soul with Coco, right?
Correct.
Soul goes to A, Coco goes to B, is what he's saying.
because of the fact that that flaw that Nikki pointed out in Coco is jarring to me regarding like the laws against it without no music across 4 generations. That's a big flaw because that would be impossible to overcome. Whereas Soul, for me, like I get Jack's reasoning about it, but I just felt it connected to me more emotionally, especially where you're gonna go in life. I mean, I related to Joe's story regarding where he's going in life, and also in other aspects of the story. So that's my take on it. If I'm gonna go 0-5 on this, then
All in favor of switching Coco and Soul, raise your hands. Jonathan, I'm assuming you're voting for your choice.
oh yes.
Majority has it.
Thank you.
Wow.
And there you have it. This is the Action Army Brats final Pixar tier list. All rulings are final. So be it. Any final thoughts before? I know we have some announcements that Nikki's going to make at the end, but any final thoughts? We know Jonathan did not have a great day, but I still hope he had fun. I hope you had fun, Jonathan.
Yeah, let me go first. Yes. Yeah. Overall, the S tier list is, in my opinion, kind of an abomination. But overall, I had fun. I had fun discussing Pixar movies, and most of these movies are fantastic. I would actually easily rewatch the top 12 actually, and then I would put Incredibles to a little 13th. But yeah, I would rewatch those immediately because most of these are fantastic movies. One of the best in animation. But thank you for having us in here today.
We'll go backwards order. Liam, how was any final thoughts?
No, I agree mostly with Jonathan. I think everything's in the right ballpark. A couple of nitpicks at the top, but other than that,
Great. Hope you had fun. Pardis, any final thoughts?
I also had fun in this. It was a good tier listing. The only things that I would put Bugs Life over Bugs Life in the A tier, but it's good. I think it's a good place where it is.
So
Yeah.
Pardis is willing to die on that anthill.
And overall, I had fun, and this is a great tier list that we did.
Jack, the champ, any final thoughts?
I know that there are going to be some people who are really mad that Up is number 1 on this tier list, but I would just, and you know what, to everybody who is mad about that or disappointed about that, no, Jeff is apparently reporting this tier list to the FBI because Toy Story 3 is not clear. But I just want to say 2 things. One is a quote from Ratatouille. The average piece of junk is probably more meaningful than our criticism designating it so. And 2, fuck you guys, Up is the best.
I knew you were going to pick Up because when you like,
Okay, hey.
Up is the best.
Hey.
Final thoughts.
Hey. Thank you. Nikki?
I'm very pleased with how this went. This is more than double the time I thought it was going to take. But I'm glad everyone was very engaged with it. I'm very pleasantly surprised that Up was made number 1.
On a technical.
But I'm very pleased with this. I think this is fun. Like, I agreed and disagreed with everyone, like, for different things. I like the variety of opinions we had. maybe I should rewatch Inside Out again. It's like my Thor Ragnarok for Pixar, but no, I really enjoy it. And as usual, thank everyone for watching and everyone who's helped contribute to the channel. This was great.
Great. Any announcements about upcoming matches, shows, tier lists, whatever?
Yes. So we were previously going to have a match tomorrow in Pixar that was going to be between call sign Jerry and Bloodsport over here. But as now actually going to be a 3-way featuring our very own Party J. So as of now, that's actually going to be taking place next Sunday, the 17th at 3 Eastern. And the winner of that will be TBD facing off against the champ. And currently one of my favorite generals, Jack, in another championship bout. And then additionally, no determined times, but we are working on an MCU match that will be between call sign Monty and call sign Cash. That will be that Pardis is helping call. And then I'm still open to other suggestions if anyone wants to have other stuff on here, including tier lists.
You forgot me and you for Shrek films.
We also have an under TBD, but there will also be a Shrek face-off between me and Pardis. And as of right now, that's it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm sure we'll see a lot of you in like 10 minutes. I'm sure you're thrilled to keep seeing our faces. Have a good night and salute.
Good night, everybody.
Up is the best.